Got to love that jazz, man. Got to love that jazz. What's going on, everybody? It is S.E.T Key Media back in the house, man. You got your favorite big four-headed YouTuber, man. Key back in the building, man. Serving y'all up with this content, man. Happy Wednesday night. We're gonna come at it with a bang, man. We got a lot of interesting stuff to cover. We're gonna keep it a little bit comedic tonight on a shorter tip. Started off on a funny note, man. Shout out to Racco TV. Y'all know we love these clips over here. We got a lot to cover after this, though, so stay tuned. Got a lot of interesting things coming up, man. Double tap that screen to start your boy off on a fire note, or you can hit the three buttons in the upper right-hand corner. Let's kick it off, man. Let's go.
Of 850.
Can you do me a favor?
A 22-year-old woman escorted from a downtown Miami hotel accused of ripping off her ex to the tune of $850,000.
I had great intentions with her. I loved her with all my heart. I treated her the best that I could.
Michael Anthony Bravo is a guy who hit it big in the crypto market. He also thought that finding Jabali last June was a win in the love department.
I always,
how many times have we heard that story?
Great dinners, whatever she wanted.
How many times have we heard that story? One of the crypto bros thought he struck gold by finding a baddie who turns out didn't like him for his charmingly good looks. Didn't like him because he had a way with words. I mean, it might be a shocker to all of us, but it turns out she liked him for his money. Like,
You what?
Can you believe that, guys? She only liked him for his money. Like, God damn it.
She wanted to go shopping. I provided for her. I helped pay her bills.
But this relationship would head south a couple of weeks ago. He fell asleep on his yacht and woke up to find she was gone, along with his American.
Hey, boy was getting that big money. Fell asleep on his yacht. Not in his mansion, not in his Rolls Royce, but in his yacht. Oh, he was getting them stupid crypto bucks.
An express credit card and $850,000 in cryptocurrency.
As soon as she transferred the Trump coin from my wallet into her wallet, she left within 7 minutes.
I think this was a plan from day one, that she targeted my client, that she's much more sophisticated than he gave her credit for. And for
a tale as old as time, man. These girls, they slide in off their charmingly good looks. And that thing that, fellas tend to chase. You all know what I'm talking about.
Nope.
But they get lured in by some good looks and, some good times. And look what happens, man. This man done got swindled, bamboozled, left with nothing, left in shambles. I mean, at least he had the yacht, right?
Bruh. Someone 22 years old to set all this up. This can't be her first rodeo either.
Private investigator David Bolton was hired to track her down and found her in a downtown Miami hotel on Valentine's Day, where Miami police confronted her. Investigators say she told them, "That loser is my ex-boyfriend. He lets me use his credit card." Police say she also booked an Airbnb with his card with a charge of more than $4,200. She was arrested for grand theft and credit card fraud. But the problems for Bravo didn't end there. After appearing in court, the Tunisian native was handed over to immigration officials. The problem is she has the key to a crypto wallet that holds Bravo's money.
And that's kind of put us in the bind that we are with immigration at this point. And certainly we don't want her to be deported until She goes before a judge and before our client is made whole.
I mean, the guy's a simp and a donor for flashing cash and buying gifts for a woman that he barely seems to know. You never do that. You don't show him what you got when you barely know him. So if you don't get his money back.
I mean, all jokes aside, you know, we definitely hold the young woman accountable for being a fucking thief and a criminal. But yeah, bro's a little bit goofy for being overly trusting, one, and two, like, come on, bro. You got to be on the lookout for the scam like that. Everybody knows those girls in Miami want the baller. And everybody knows those girls in Miami got a way of getting that baller. They finessers. That's their hustle, right? Looking good, ending up with a millionaire, and then they get the things they want. And if you're goofy enough, if you're silly enough, they might try and take your goddamn crypto from you.
He's learned a valuable lesson, and she will also learn a valuable lesson because she's getting deported and sent to jail.
Lock his ass up.
Hey,
lock his ass up. You're going to jail. You're going to jail.
If you could have any superpower, what would it be?
Nah, but honestly, it is like
superpower.
That's okay.
Shit, I feel like I got a superpower right now.
I'm right here on the corner. I'm gonna be here for the next 20 minutes because I'm waiting my food. Have them come see me. All right. Nigga gonna stand on business every time.
Hold on.
I'm right here on the corner. I'm gonna be here for the next 20 minutes because I'm waiting my food. Have them come see me. All right. Nigga gonna stand
like how
on
bro
business
said
every
that.
time.
Hey, yo. I mean,
these
that's why
man
they
ain't
in
slick.
there.
We know exactly why you're there.
Yeah, that's
I ain't gonna lie.
Well, how much does a man need to be making a month to date you?
Bread.
No, have a number though.
I used to say 6K a month.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I still think is all right.
Mm-hmm.
It's healthy. We can make it by.
Yeah.
You know
but
what?
ideally, more. I'd say about 10 grand a month.
So you're not on like
10 grand a month is comfy, isn't it?
wow, 10 grand a month is mad still.
It's
Not for
comfy.
me, but
no, but it's comfy.
but like that's mad, that's dark, but cool. You don't want to like start with no man from the not saying
Nah,
he's broke.
you
Just
know
from
what?
the,
I can respect that perspective. 6 grand a month is humble. 10 is optimal. The more the better, but she did say 6. I mean, that's reasonable. Most girls start off by saying, "Oh, I want a millionaire. He needs to make 6 grand a week." Like, I've heard girls say some egregious things. So maybe I'm just going off of that as the standard or that as reference. But you know, 6 grand a month isn't that bad. That's reasonable.
the ground up, he's maybe
I don't
making
date
2, 3.
potential.
Wow.
I ain't dating potential.
Swear.
Yeah.
Shit.
I don't want to date potential.
10K a month, bro.
Mhm.
I ain't talking about me, but bro, there's so much good brothers out there. You know what I'm saying? Sad still.
Minimum. And anyone that gets triggered by that is because you're broke. All right? Okay.
That's mad.
It's potential for a reason and they don't go anywhere with it. There's probably 1 in a million man that actually will do something with that potential, and hold tight, you girls, and see that through, because I haven't got the patience.
I've said this before, but most of these women are so clueless that if you earn about 3K, you can probably make them think you're earning 10K. And how does this donut even find out what a man earns? Does she make him take a paycheck on their first date? Because if she's...
I mean, like I say, 6K is not that egregious, bro. If you're making 4K, which is about $1,000 a week, up your hustle just a little bit. You'll be able to qualify for a girl like this. If 6K is so offensive to hear, like, you're not that far off if you're somewhere around 3 or 4K. Now, 3 or 4K, it should be where most people are at. If you're not there, then you'll get there eventually. Obviously, you know, everybody's journey is a little bit different, but that should be everybody's starting point right there. And then you can get into conversations about, well, okay, I'm trying to make 6, I'm trying to make 8, I'm trying to make 10.
She's asking men for proof or trying to pocket what she's going to put most of them off. So she walks around all day in a skimpy little outfit, hoping for men in relationships to look at her and get a reaction. And this is the best clip that she got all day. Amazing content.
I'm a grown-ass woman. I'll do whatever the fuck I want.
Is that really what she makes her content around? Like, she trying to get somebody, man, head knocked off. Like, is this some type of game? Like, I don't know about y'all, but I know some of the homies who girl ain't gonna stand for that. Like, she literally knocking head off shoulders. Bruh. Are you looking at her ass right now? Like, don't play with me in this mall.
Want to do.
You what?
But if my boyfriend says no, then I can't do it.
Men doesn't care about your body count. They don't care about your past. The only thing they care about is your present.
Keep telling yourself that, darling.
In medieval times, a 7'2" black man was given one of the best jobs during that era. The king instructed Roque Jose to daily with slave women due to his long and powerful build. King's primary objective was to construct an army of tall, strong, and muscular slaves. Over the years, Jose slept with countless women and had 249 children whom he equally loved.
So this guy was like the Genghis Khan of NBA players. That's where they all come from.
It all makes sense now.
Shut up, bitch. Hey, gang.
Nah,
Just want to make a video real quick saying, stop doing this. It's not funny. It's never been funny. Don't do this, right? Like, why is this a name in a video game? I reported it. It's not funny. It's never been funny. Protect women, right?
He went to all the effort of making this and he's still a virgin.
Goddamn, hold on. Hold on, big word.
Red card, bro. 5-match ban. And a 20K fine on top of that, bro. Unacceptable behavior.
If your mate throws you under the bus like this in front of some girls to get a laugh from him, then he ain't your mate.
I don't know about y'all, but like, I grew up in you gotta have a certain type of mentality, some tough skin in my environment. Like, that ain't a bad homie just because he, tend to get a little bit jokey around other people. I mean, I grew up in a way like, man, roast his ass back. I would have said something about his, whatever. I would have got his ass back. I don't think that makes him a bad homie.
What's going on here? We've been catfished. It's very disturbing. I wish to leave immediately.
If a man did this, we never hear the end of it. But when a woman does it, she gets 234,000 likes for this ignorant shit.
It's really sad how shallow and disrespectful people can be, especially on social media. You're a guest in another country, and you think it's okay to go.
Pure ignorance. Come over there and think that everybody's a fucking Korean underwear model. Like, what? Are you crazy?
Go around filming the men there to post on social media and say how unattractive they are? Seriously? You don't know better than to treat people that way? And listen, I don't care how pretty you think you are. If you're this ugly on the inside, no man is going to want to be with you. You need to do better. Mind your own business.
What gives you the right? What gives you the right to go outside with no shirt on? Have you lost your mind?
Bruh.
You think it's funny?
I'm peeing and making you do this.
Whatever.
Yeah, his body, his choice.
Go Bearcats!
Is that for me though?
Is that for you?
Yeah.
Did you get flowers today?
No.
You didn't get flowers
He
today?
hates me.
Isn't that your boyfriend? That's your boyfriend, ain't
Yes,
it?
he hates me.
Are you serious?
No.
Wait, why didn't you get her flowers?
So
now you're lying. I'm lying. She's how.
Flowers and pancakes out here. Give, I'm the best. Yes, sir.
Yes, I believe him. I believe him for sure. You guys have a good Valentine's. For sure.
She wants him. She probably wants
Why
you,
she
bro.
do that?
What?
If she cheats,
she belongs to the streets.
Rex. Now, shout out to Racco TV, man. I had to start this one off on a funny note. Now, let's transition into a more serious political note. Let's get into this Trump cabinet meeting he had today, specifically Elon's portion. Let's jump right into it, guys. Like the video, man. Just getting started on this one. Just getting this stream kicked off. It's not too late. Go ahead and show your boy some love. Double tap that screen. Let's do it.
Back into shape, and this is a big part of it. So, Elon, if you could get up and explain where you are, how you're doing, and how much we're successful guy. He's really working so hard, and he's got businesses to run. And in many ways, I say, how do you do this? And, you know, he's sacrificing a lot and getting a lot of praise, I'll tell you. But he's also getting hit, and we would expect that, and that's the way it works. So I'd like to have Elon Musk please say a few words. Thank you, Elon.
Thank you, Mr. President. I actually just call myself a humble tech support here because this is actually, as crazy as it sounds, that is almost a literal description of the work that the DOGE team is doing, is helping fix the government computer systems. Many of these systems are extremely old. They don't communicate. There are a lot of mistakes in the systems. The software doesn't work. So we are actually tech support. It's ironic, but it's true. The overall goal here with the DOGE team is to help address the enormous deficit. We simply cannot sustain as a country $2 trillion deficits. The interest rates, just the interest on the national debt now exceeds the Defense Department spending. We spend a lot on the Defense Department, but we're spending like over $1 trillion on interest. If this continues, the country will become de facto bankrupt.
Like the economy will implode. It sounds like this isn't sustainable at this rate. Literally, we won't have a future. Like our children will not have the same opportunity in the same country in United States of America. All the freedoms that we've been afforded, they will not have.
It's not an optional thing. It is an essential thing.
Mandatory.
That's the reason I'm here. And taking a lot of flack and getting a lot of death threats, by the way. I mean, I'm like, stack them up, you know. But if we don't do this, America will go bankrupt. That's why it has to be done. And I'm confident at this point, knock on wood, you know, knock on my wooden head. There's got a lot of wood up there. That we can actually find $1 trillion in savings. That would be roughly 15% of the $7 trillion budget. And obviously that can only be done with the support of everyone in this room. And I'd like to thank everyone for your support. Thank you very much. This can only be done with your support. So it's really, DOGE is a support function.
Now, $1 trillion is a lot. I know everybody's hearing that number and they're like, huh? Because Elon just said, with your help and with our combined efforts, I'm sure we can find $1 trillion worth of savings and money that's being negligently spent. Now, I don't know if it'll be that much, but I think with, you know, lending credence to what he just said, I think with everybody buying in, I think we can find a lot of money to be saved, a lot of money to be kicked back into the economy, or maybe kicked back then to our pockets in some way, shape, or form. I think there's a lot of spending or a lot of money that's being pissed away due to negligent spending that's out there that could be found. $1 trillion is a lot. I don't know if it's that much, but a lot. I think there's a lot.
For the president and for the agencies and departments to help achieve those savings and to effectively find 15% in reduction in fraud and waste. And we bring the receipts. So people say like, well, is this real? Just go to doge.gov. We line item by line item, we specify each item. So, and I should say, we will make mistakes. We won't be perfect, but when we make a mistake, we'll fix it very quickly. So for example, with USAID, one of the things we accidentally canceled very briefly was Ebola prevention. I think we all want Ebola prevention. So we restored the Ebola prevention immediately, and there was no interruption. But we do need to move quickly if we're to achieve a $1 trillion deficit reduction in in financial year 2026. It requires saving $4 billion per day, every day, from now through the end of September. But we can do it, and we will do it. Thank you.
Would you have any questions of Elon while we're on the subject of DOGE? Because we'll finish off with that. And if you would have any questions, please, we'll finish off with that. And if you would have any questions, please ask.
So beyond that, beyond him saying that there's $1 trillion out there in savings and all we have to do is find it, all we have to do is uncover it, he said we can and we will do it. I like it. I like it. Hopeful promise. Strong message sent there by Elon. And I mean, when it comes to Doge, overall, I know there's a lot of criticism. I know a lot of people don't like Elon. I know a lot of people don't like Trump, but I really hang my hat. I really hinge every single argument and every single angle of my position on the fact that I think there's a net positive, a net benefit that we all kind of get something out of if Doge and Elon are able to do what they've campaigned on doing, which is saving us goddamn money. Like, I don't care where you lie politically, where your affiliation is. Like, we could all be saved some money. Like, I think everybody can agree on that.
You could ask me or Elon. Go ahead, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. Musk. I just wanted to ask you that President Trump put out a Truth Social today saying that everybody in the cabinet was happy with you. I just wondered if you had heard otherwise, and if so, what are you doing to address those any dissatisfaction?
Let the cabinet speak just for a second. Is anybody unhappy with Elon? If you are, well, throw them out of here. I have a lot of respect for Elon and that he's doing this, and some disagree a little bit, but I will tell you, for the most part, I think everyone's disagree a little bit, but I will tell you, for the most part, I think everyone's not only happy, they're thrilled. So go ahead.
That's a great point. For as loud as the detractors have been, the disagreeers, the naysayers, I mean, there's just as much support for Elon, Trump, and Doge. Like, don't let some of these mainstream media narratives fool you. Don't let some of the pundits on the left, some of the entertainers who have been outspoken with their platform to talk shit about Elon every chance they've gotten. Don't let that necessarily fool you. There's a lot of support for what Elon and Trump are trying to do with this whole Doge initiative. Like, I think, you know, there's obviously a lot of speculation. There is no roadmap because this is a completely new initiative. But I'm hopeful that if they do, again, what they've campaigned on doing, which is increasing the efficiency, we can all get a benefit from it. Okay. Let me see here.
Never been assembled.
All right, there we go. My bad, guys.
Go ahead.
I'm grateful.
Ever. Literally. So, I do not give false praise. This is an incredible group of people. I don't think that such a talented team has actually ever been assembled. I think it's literally the best cabinet that the country has ever had. And I think the company should be incredibly appreciative of the people in this room.
Go ahead, please. Yeah.
Mr. President, thank you, Mr. Musk. Are there about half of the government employees so far appear to have responded to your request for what they've been doing over the past week? Is there a timeline in place for next moves for people being fired, and when can the American people expect to see results of that?
Yes. Well, to be clear, like I think that email perhaps was best interpreted as a performance review, but actually it was a pulse check review. Do you have a pulse? Do you have a pulse and two neurons? So if you have a pulse and two neurons, you can reply to an email.
And are you checking your damn work email? Like, I mean, imagine getting offended. Imagine trying to call out Elon, his reach, his power, his influence, say he has tyrannical rule. He's an unelected bureaucrat with too much power and oversight, just because he sent a company-wide email saying, "What did you do last week at your job in your role?" Like, bro, the only people, and again, the only people that would get mad at something like that are the people that aren't doing their goddamn job. If I'm sitting here doing my job and I get an email from my supervisor asking me what I did in the last week, bro, that's my opportunity to brag. That's my opportunity to embellish. Like, bro, I did this, I did that. I took out the trash. I helped Johnny with the side project. I got ahead on next week's quarterly whatever. Like, bro, I don't understand how you have so much outrage, so much backlash from this man sending a company-wide email saying, "What'd you do last week?" It just tells me that most people weren't doing their goddamn job.
Email. This is,
Like you said,
you know, I think not a high bar.
Who's going to
is what I'm
respond?
saying. This is should be anyone could accomplish this, but what we are trying to get to the bottom of is we think there are a number of people on the government payroll who are dead, which is probably why they can't respond, and some people who are not real people, like they're literally fictional individuals that are collecting paychecks. Well,
Now, for as many people say this is just right-wing conspiracy, this claim has no foundation, it's baseless. Elon is crazy. He's fueling neoconservative narratives. For anybody who's going to say anything radical like that, once at least one case of this is proven, once we find one case of somebody receiving government benefits, that's paycheck, that's everything else, and they're either dead or a completely fraudulent person, like Elon just explained, once we find one case of that, I want to know what y'all are going to say. Oh, that's just one time. That's not widespread. Once we find one case of that, y'all really are going to have to come up with something new, because everything I'm hearing is Elon has too much power. Some of the stuff he's saying is just completely false. The numbers that he's reporting are completely false. They're not true. Elon's saying people in these agencies are doing this. That's untrue. That's unfounded. Once we find and confirm that some of these people are
somebody's
receiving
collecting
government
paychecks on a
benefits,
fictional
and they're not
individual. So
even
we're literally
alive,
trying to figure out, are these people real? Are they alive? And can they write an email? Which I think is a reasonable expectation for the American public would have at least that expectation of someone in the public sector.
Mr. Musk, roughly 1 million employees.
It's not a high bar, guys.
once we find out these people are receiving government benefits and they're not even alive, y'all should be on hush mode. There should be nothing for y'all to say, because it just confirmed everything that Elon and DOGE and others have been saying. They've been backpedaling, saying that it's just crazy conspiracy. But once we find one case, I need everybody who said that it was crazy, that it was just conspiracy, that it was just a talking point that we're trying to peddle. I need everybody. I don't care. At this point, y'all owe a full-blown apology.
Come on.
Roughly 1 million employees have responded so far to this email. Does that mean that the remaining 1 million or so federal employees now risk being terminated? And is it your understanding and expectation when you post a directive on X that the cabinet secretaries will follow that order? Because several agencies have instructed employees that this is voluntary or not to respond.
Yeah, well, I mean, so I guess it was like last week, the president encouraged me via Truth Social and also via phone call to be more aggressive. And I was like, okay, yes, sir, Mr. President, we will indeed do that. The president is a commander asks. And I said, can we send out an email to everyone just saying, what did you get done last week? And the president said yes, so it did that. We
emphasis on him coordinating with the goddamn president. So people are over here asserting that Elon just has this blank slate, like no one is overseeing Elon's power. He has to check in with nobody. Bro, Elon makes suggestions they only get implemented upon approval. Y'all do know that, right? Elon isn't just pushing the needle on all this stuff with no oversight, with no bounds. He obviously works within a limit. And beyond that, he only makes suggestions based off of what he sees and off of the research that him and his team have done. Again, they're reviewed and then approved and implemented. So Elon isn't just over here saying, do this, do that, fire those people, kick those guys out, make sure their key card doesn't work. It's not happening like that. It's not his company and it's not his country.
We got a partial response. We're going to send another email. But our goal is not to be capricious or unfair. We want to give people every opportunity to send an email. And the email could simply be, what I'm working on is too sensitive or classified to describe. Like literally just, that would be sufficient. I think this is just common sense.
And what is your target number for how many workers, employees you're looking to cut total?
Fair enough.
We wish to keep everyone who is doing a job that is essential and doing that job well. But if the job is not essential or they're not doing the job well, they obviously should not be on the public payroll.
Oh my God, Elon's so crazy for suggesting such a dastardly thing. He's suggesting we fire anybody who's not doing an essential job, who's not serving in an integral role. Oh my God, Elon the autocrat. Oh my God, Elon's so evil. Oh my God, he's tyrannical. Bruh. Who's gonna stop this man? I mean, bro, come on. Come on. How can you hate that initiative? He just literally said, bro, to answer her question, essentially, there's no number. I'm not shooting for a number. I'm not trying to fire as much staff as I can. There's no percentage I have in mind. If you're doing a job that's integral, that's vital, and you're doing it well, you're serving your purpose and your role, you're gonna be able to stick around. You're gonna have your job, nothing to worry about. If it's proven that you're one of these fraudulent people, you don't exist, you're dead, or you're not doing your job, then yeah, you're gonna get fired. Point blank, period. It's simple.
I'd like to add that those million people that haven't responded, though, Elon, they are on the bubble. I wouldn't say that we're thrilled about it. They haven't responded. Now, maybe they don't exist. Maybe we're paying people. Now, maybe they don't exist. Maybe we're paying people that don't exist. Don't forget, we just got here. This group just got here. But those people are on the bubble, as they say. Maybe they're going to be gone. Maybe they're not around. Maybe they have other jobs. Maybe they moved and they're not where they're supposed to be. A lot of things could have happened. I wouldn't say that Biden ran a very tight administration. They spent money like nobody's ever spent money before. Wasted money. The Green New scam, all of the different things they spent money on. And you've seen that. We've seen that with some of the things that I read in speeches. I read them and people can't believe when I read them. 20 million here, 30 million here for, a little educational course on something. Circumcision, right? Circumcision. $20 million to inform the people of such and such a country on other things and other things other than that. So, those people are, right now we're trying to find out who those people are that haven't responded. Now, there'll be some agencies, like Marco has people within state that are right now doing very classified, very confidential work, and we understand that, and we've talked, and, we're being a little more...
All right. Well, that right there just let me know everything that I've said about DOGE is low-key true. Elon doesn't have this full scope of power that people assess that he has. He's in coordination with Trump and other advisors to make sure these decisions actually fit our company, or not our company, but our country's ideals and identity, that they align with where we're trying to go. And bro, some of this shit is simple. It's straightforward. It's rudimentary. Reply to the goddamn email if you're doing your goddamn job. It's as simple as that. Should be no backlash. But let's continue on, guys. Shout out Big Wave Dave on this one, man. Keeping it comedic, keeping it centered around Elon right here. This is a funny little political cartoon. Shout out, what's the man? Al Berry. I like this guy's channel. Shout out Dave too.
Elon, you have no right to take away Social Security benefits from millions of Americans over 120 years old. That's right. It's a constitutional crisis. That's right, Maxine. It's a threat to our democracy.
Chuck, there's clearly evidence of fraud happening in Social Security. How else do you explain the checks going to people 140 years old? Who are these people supposed to be? Vampires?
Not exactly. But the answer is actually much simpler than fraud. You see, there are things in this world, dead things, many of them relying heavily on disability checks.
Chuck, if dead people are receiving disability checks, that's fraud.
Let's just say because someone is dead, that doesn't mean they're no longer eligible for Social Security.
Are you guys trying to say they're ghost receiving benefits?
It's the only logical explanation besides fraud, which is clearly unlikely.
Can you prove it to me?
Yes, we can. Meet us at the Congressional Cemetery tonight at midnight. Maybe once you meet someone who depends on Social Security checks, you'll change your mind about cutting them off. Go ahead, Elizabeth. Right. Stop being fraud
Yo, all right, it's pretty funny.
in Social Security is somehow anti-democracy.
We better not be giving our fucking Social Security to fucking ghosts. You got me fucked up. You got me fucked up. We better not be giving these goddamn benefits away to people who've been dead. Davy Jones's locker, like, bro, what?
Who dares disturb my gay kissing? Oh, it's you. Where the hell is my Social Security check? I have bills to pay, you know. I'm working on it, Benjamin. You see, Elon, without Social Security payments, homosexual ghosts like Benjamin Martin can't afford to eat.
Wait a minute.
You're stopping my benefits because you think it's impossible to be 130? I'm 287 years old. You must be an idiot. Thank God
Bro, somebody stomped this old ass ghost out, man, over here stealing benefits.
have highly ethical geniuses like Elizabeth Warren and Chuck Schumer to watch my back, or who knows what else you do.
Nah, that's pretty goddamn funny. Shout out Big Wave Dave on that one, man. And guy's name's channel, for everybody who's wondering, is Al Berry. Those little political cartoons, those are always good. But guys, let's get into the meat and potatoes of tonight's stream, because we got none other than actual January 6ers who were there that day, who were in prison, who were pardoned by Trump this year, right here in studio with none other than Myron Gaines from the Fresh and Fit podcast. I know some people don't like Myron, but we're going to get into this work, though. We're going to get into this work. Let's do it. Like the video, guys. This is going to be great.
Three Patriots, guys. Welcome to the show. I'm happy to have you guys on.
Thank you for having us.
There was no other way that I could have done that intro with you guys here in the house. But for those that are unaware, can you guys please introduce yourselves? We can start with Pat.
Yeah, my name is Pat Stedman. I'm a dating and relationship coach for men and political prisoner. Spent a year at Fort Dix, New Jersey.
My name's Enrique Tario. I am the president of the local chapter here in Miami of the Proud Boys, and I was sentenced to 22 years. And just about a month and change ago, I was pardoned by the President Trump.
My name's Ethan Nordine.
It's kind of low. I'm gonna see if I can get this turned up a little bit for you guys.
Moved over here, and now in Vice City.
I can barely hear it.
We just did that.
Yeah,
nice little remodel there. I was sentenced to 18 years in federal prison. I spent 4 years in federal prison. I was released, not with a pardon, but a commutation. We'll get into that. That's some fun stuff. So
okay. And then Gary, you were there.
A lot of questions to be answered here. Speaking with the actual J6ers, Enrico Tario sitting right in the middle. Outspoken, quote unquote, leader of the Proud Boys. We're gonna get into this work, guys. A lot to be said, a lot of questions, a lot to break down right here. Like the video, double tap that screen for your boy, man. Who else y'all know covering this shit, man? S.E.T Media. You can also hit the 3 buttons in the upper right hand corner, man. Show your boy some love. And it is a call-in show, man. So members, mods, feel free to call in. We'd love to talk to y'all tonight. Y'all know what time it is. Let's keep it going. And oh yeah, let me know if it sounds good. It sounds kind of low, so one's in the chat if you guys can hear.
There that day as well.
Yeah, I was there. I'll never forget that day. I was at Trump's last speech in 2021 when he was president, and I saw a whole bunch of people, going down to the Capitol, and I was like, when the hell have we ever seen a revolution start with flags? And I just backed off.
Fair enough. So I guess we could kind of go through that day, because I there's been so many different stories and narratives when it comes to January 6th and what happened. Obviously I look at you guys as political prisoners. When Trump came into office on January 20th, and one of the first things he did was pardon 1,500 guys. That's obviously very powerful, and it goes to show that there was some problematic situations with the justice system when it came to your guys' political persecution.
To say the least.
Yeah, to say the least.
Yeah.
Luckily we got Kash Patel in as director of the FBI, and Dan Bongino is his number 2 guy. So hopefully they clean house and get rid of some of these dickheads that use the justice system as weaponization.
Them up.
Okay, we can use dickhead in here.
You can use that.
Like, all right.
Yeah,
We're
the
good with that one.
weaponization of the Department of Justice was absolutely obvious, man, and everybody knows it. So I don't know who wants to go first, so they could kind of take us through their experience, because all you guys were at different places
Yeah.
on that day. I mean, you weren't even there, which we'll talk about that.
So I don't want to start off because you're like, oh well, tell me what happened there that day. I'm like, well, I can't tell
We can
you.
start with whoever wants to go first
ahead.
with on that day.
I'll go first. Yeah.
Sure.
So I had a show after it started off around COVID, but after the election theft, it really started to kick off on Twitter using Periscope at that time, called COVID Cabal. So I had a bunch of guys who were watching the show. They came down to DC to meet me there. We were there at 5 a.m. We got in to see Trump's speech, got in at the very, very beginning of that, basically all the way in the front where the VIP stuff was, watched the speech. It was super delayed, which was kind of weird unto itself. I mean, we were waiting out there for the speech like well over an hour and a half beyond what it was supposed to be. But at any rate, speech ends, everyone's going down to the Capitol.
I love this, man. And shout out, man. We're gonna get into this full work tonight, man. Got a lot of questions about January 6th. How did it go down? Who broke the barrier? Were they let in? Did they make entry? Did they force their way in? Was it aggressive? Was it non-aggressive? We got Enrico Terrio and others who were actually there that day and in prison, sitting right here, giving their account of the events. First-hand account from the horse's mouth right here, man. We're going to go over the whole thing. Shout out, man. Double tap that screen for your boy. This is going to be a good one. Or you can hit the 3 buttons in the upper right-hand corner. It is call-in, guys. So go ahead and feel free to call in, mods and members. You guys know what time it is.
Trump said, go down to the Capitol peacefully, patriotically protest, right? I'm heading down there. We find out on the way down there that basically Pence isn't going to be sending the votes back to the states. So everyone's a little bit pissed off. I'm getting to the Capitol and I see people running from the Capitol screaming, and I can see smoke in the distance. And I'm asking these people, what's going on? They said the police started attacking us out of nowhere. And I'm already in a pissed off state. You know, I've already been kind of in like this like revolutionary agitating mode on my show. So I ran towards the Capitol. I saw that there was a crowd of people going in, flags, as Gary was saying, just flags as far as the eye can see. Gary probably picked up the right message from it, but I was really caught up in that fervor. And so I went in. I found out later on I was actually very close to I was in the group that Ashley Babbitt was in.
Yeah.
I didn't know who she was and I didn't see her, but I ended up going upstairs when we got to the basically the doors of the congressional chambers. I went upstairs. She kept going forward. And as I come back downstairs on the other side, I have these plainclothes police officers with guns pointed at me. They're like Secret Service looking people. I have no idea what's going on because when I was in the Capitol, the cops were really chill. So
they
it
let
was
you guys in, didn't they?
Well, they did, and this is the thing that's really confusing. I think you know, as we hear the other stories, you know, it's Ethan's story and everything about how it was really different at different points. Like I heard that the police attacked people, and I saw footage later on that they did. But then there was like a big stand down, I guess, because when I came into the Capitol, I thought that the police were actually with us, and this was in documented evidence in my trial. I had like text messages to people because they were like waving us through. They were just chilling. And then all of a sudden it was like,
was this Capitol Police waving you guys through, right?
Capitol Police, yeah. And then all of a sudden it was like, we just shot one of you. Like it was really hard to understand, and our emotions were getting thrown back and forth. So soon after that, I was out of the Capitol.
Yeah. So after she got shot.
Yeah, I went and talked to a regular police officer afterwards. I said, you know, what the fuck is going on here? Why is this guy pointing a gun at me?
Mm-hmm.
And he said, a protester's been shot. You should head for the exit.
Like,
and so I did. I sat in the rotunda for a bit.
Did you even hear the gunshot?
No, I didn't hear the gunshot, but when I came back around the corner, I could see that there was like tear gas all throughout the hallways.
Oh shit.
Do you remember seeing Ashley Babbitt at all personally, or did you just realize this after when you viewed Discovery?
It was just at the trial during Discovery, because I could see that I was in the same group as her. And even footage that they used that they got from her situation was used in my trial.
So no real clarification on the Ashley Babbitt situation, which I was actually hoping for, because some people say that she was pushed through that window. Some people say that she personally broke it and tried to make entry through the window, and that's what led to her untimely death. No real clarification right there, but man, when it comes to Ashley Babbitt, man, that is kind of like the saddest takeaway from January 6th. A very unfortunate situation and untimely death. Untimely death. There's some sickos out there that say she deserved it, but you know where we stand here on this channel, man. You know where we stand. Insane. So RIP to Ashley Babbitt and condolences to her family. Still to this day.
I think there's a lot of situations like that where it's kind of like a godsend. A lot of us didn't see it because just with the energy, a lot of us saw like grandmas and mothers that were getting attacked by these police officers. We were not practicing de-escalation tactics, rather escalation tactics. And so, I mean, in the heat of the moment, especially if you had a group of just men like all of us in one place and you'd seen an individual use lethal force as his first response, I think there would have been a very different reaction. And I mean, it's horrible that what happened to Ashley Babbitt happened, of course. But I'm glad that we weren't there because it would have been,
I think it would have escalated.
It would have been very bad.
Yeah, if Ethan or myself would have been there, it would have escalated.
It would have been very
It was
bad.
a bad shoot. I saw it. I saw the clip a bunch of times. We had Ivan Rakelin here, constitutional lawyer.
I was just on the phone with Ivan.
We were just on the phone. Ivan, shout out to Ivan. Good guy. I saw him at Mar-a-Lago as well. But we went over this in like detail when it came to what went down that day, the shooting. We watched it on video. Which, by the way, if you guys are interested, go watch that episode. If you guys want to see the legality of how these guys were politically persecuted, it was bullshit. But the long story short is, when we looked at that shooting, it was like there was no justification for it. Like the officer's life wasn't in danger. She was behind the door. Like I don't know what was going on. So
she weighed about like 110 pounds wet.
Yeah.
She had no weapons.
Yep.
Right. And this guy, no warning.
Did he get prosecuted?
He got pardoned. He did, right? Yeah. Of course not. He got pardoned. Biden pardoned
They've
him
actually
before.
protected him too. Yeah.
Wow.
So he got arrested, but then Biden pardoned him on his way
He never
out.
got arrested. They just pardoned him preemptively.
So he got indicted. Oh, preemptively.
Biden's last day, they pardoned him.
Is that
okay?
The counter argument to that is she was making entry past the barrier, had broken a window to gain entry into the room where the officers were trying to create that barrier, which was why she was shot. But again, the argument that they're making counter to that, which I just stated, is that she was kind of forced through the window. It had already been broken and she was kind of forced through it. There was like a large crowd behind her, and if anybody's been a part of a large crowd, there's a lot of pushing, shoving and jostling. Ashley Babbitt, 110 pounds soaking wet, as they just said, was really more so just caught up in it and was kind of more or less shoved through the window and then ultimately shot and killed.
Even illegal? A preemptive pardon, is that even illegal? Because I've never even heard of anything like this before Joe Biden started doing it.
So I looked into it.
Yeah.
It is legal, but they purposely, it's very vague in the Constitution. It's written in a very vague manner. So
it's about interpretation.
Yeah.
So we don't know.
That whole section of the is very vague.
So in that case, the Supreme Court has to see if that's actually legal to do. They have to interpret it. That's the way this government works. The Supreme Court has to decide if they can preemptive pardon, and if they can't, Trump's coming for you.
I think that there's going to have to be some investigation of that or like litigation of that, because prior to Biden's last minute pardons, the only time you've ever seen a preemptive pardon was, or rather a blanket pardon, not even a preemptive pardon, was with Nixon in Watergate. And it was even that was very specifically oriented, said, okay, anything in these years related to Watergate. But Biden pardoned people like blanket pardon for things that they didn't even, there wasn't ever, so it's anything you did for 10 years.
Yeah,
it's completely,
for his son especially.
I don't know if that's constitutional personally.
Yeah, and his son wasn't just like a basic pardon, like, hey, I'm just going to pardon you for these offenses. He gave him a blanket pardon for, and I think it was like 10 years,
like
right?
10 years,
10 years.
Which if you, it's all the whole time.
Fauci, Liz Cheney, his son. I mean, unprecedented blanket pardon that is just beyond suspect, highly questionable. And I mean, like they just admitted, there really hasn't been too many presidents to do that. So yeah, it just is extremely suspect, and it kind of just caused a lot into question. Like, why such a blank slated pardon? Like the crimes that we think they're guilty of, we didn't even know they spanned all the way back into the start of the pardon. Like Fauci giving a blank slate pardon, like we were only looking at him from a certain period. He gives him a blank slate pardon that clears him of any culpability of guilt well beyond the timeline we were analyzing. So it is insane It's insane, honestly, to think Biden would do that. I mean, you know, pardons are customary on the way out the door, but for him to do something so egregious, like, I mean, as his final move before he stops being president, it's just, again, highly suspect.
Time in Burisma.
Not only his whole time in Burisma, but we also saw like other Biden members get pardoned also, ones that we didn't even know existed. So there was something there.
Yeah.
Just the amount of times his genitalia was mentioned in the trial was hilarious.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a dumpster fire of a situation, and just like, yeah, don't worry about nothing. Just see here.
I can blame
Blanket
Biden
pardon.
for a lot of things. I'm not going to blame him for pardoning his son.
Yeah, listen,
no, I agree with that.
You know
I got
what?
that.
You would have made a great Proud Boy, to be honest.
We know it's gonna
As a
happen.
father, as a father, that is your main goal in life, is to make sure that your kid is good.
There you go.
I mean, my crack smoking, hooker screwing, dead brother, wife, adulterer, you know, bro, there's just so many things to label Biden, Biden Jr. as. The list is just endless. Like, this man is, honestly, bro, judging by his actions alone, this man is complete trash. Now, I get it. That's my boy. That's my son. One of my last surviving sons. Like, this man, if you know anything about the Biden family, they've experienced a lot of hardship and death. You know, Biden's lost a wife. He's lost another son. So I get it. To a degree, though. Past a certain point, I'm just like, bruh, there's only so much I can excuse as a father. There's only so much I can ignore. After that, I'm just like, bro, you did what?
Yeah.
So that
Absolutely, and he's going to join the Proud Boys,
do
I think, from what I understand.
Who?
Hunter, yeah.
I mean, he might be pretty good to party with. I don't know about the pedophilia, but he might be really good to party with. What was it that he said? Didn't he say he's like the person that has smoked the most Parmesan cheese in history?
I don't,
because he thought he like dropped it on the rug and he thought it was the Parmesan cheese was crack. Yeah.
Wow.
that
It's in his
reminds
book.
me of,
The Biden family, man.
It's in
a
his
few
book.
people come to mind when I think of that. Yeah.
Criminal and a degenerate in the same family.
So, Pat, take me through. So after she got shot, you left. So how much time did you think you spent in the Capitol altogether?
I think it was like 44 minutes.
44 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay.
I sat down in the rotunda for probably about 8 minutes, and then I listened to his speech, and then they tried to clear everybody out.
You said when the police officer told you, hey, get out of this area, did you follow that order?
Yeah. I mean, you know, the prosecution tried to make it seem like I didn't, because even though I went to the exit, I sat down on a bench right outside the exit and just chilled for a little bit because I was tired. I'd been standing since like 5 a.m. I had a bunch of adrenaline rush. But I mean, when they started to clear out the area, like, I just walked out with everybody else. Like, there was no, the whole thing was a clown show.
It's crazy because, so you were in there, you said 44 minutes. I was in there for 27, didn't go past the rotunda. And I only went in there because my phones were dead, everything. I had no communication.
But you touched a fucking fence, you terrorist.
Yeah, I touched a fence, and that's a whole nother. We did a live stream when we were in DC, and I kind of showed people literally just touching a fence was enough force to give us terrorism enhancement.
Just to tell you, like, my story on where I was on January 6th, I got arrested on January 4th for burning a Black Lives Matter banner, right? And I knew I was going to get arrested going into DC.
So 2 days prior.
2 days prior.
2 days prior.
I mean, Black Lives Matter it started as an ideology. I mean, later turned into an organization, but I mean, they're no country, they're no state, no governing body. Like, why would you get arrested for burning a flag? Now, I can understand how some might view it as disrespectful.
You what?
I wouldn't necessarily say to do it, but to get arrested, it's egregious.
But I knew I was going to get arrested. I went into DC knowing full well that I was going to get arrested. So what I planned is, that's why I bought my flight on.
But as the leader, as a Proud Boy of the Proud Boys, you can imagine why this man might have been politically targeted for such a move.
January 4th, I'm like, okay, whatever. I get arrested on January 4th. Fuck that. I go to in front of the judge on January 5th. She bonds me out because DC's a no cash bail state, right? So I'm like, and then I'll go see the president speak on January 6th, which was our plan, right? And the judge threw a wrench in my cog, and it's like, well, on top of bonding out, I am going to order you to get out of the district, which again bothered me a little bit, right? But I didn't care. I'm like, you know what? It doesn't matter. I was just gonna go see the president speak. It's cold as fuck. I'll just spend a day in the hotel, and when these guys are done watching the president speak, like I'll just go meet them, or they'll come meet me because I can't be in the district, but they were in Virginia. That was my plan. So, but that wasn't what the prosecutor and the DOJ alleged.
Yeah, you were saying,
They alleged that I was the mastermind and I was responsible, and we were responsible for every single person that walked into that building, every single person that put their hands on a police officer. We were responsible for everything that happened that day. They called us the ultimate leaders of what happened that day on January 6th.
I think it
And
sounds pretty
actually
cool,
find
you know?
that I do find that very flattering.
Yeah,
and
we
it
sound
sounds
way
cool,
cooler than we really are.
and
Yeah.
it sounds like we're like some fucking Bond villains or some shit like that.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I can't even say that because it's not true. That's not what we planned. What we planned is to go see the president speak. I had to go speak on 2 stages after the.
Like, so honestly, from judging from what my man Enrico was saying, it wasn't even premeditated to be anything on that large a scale. Like, they went, obviously, they had the group, they planned on going, they planned on seeing the president speak. There was a rally, but for it to turn into what we know as January 6th, this large scale event that'll go down in history, infamously. This will go, I mean, it has already been stamped as a historical event, an infamous historical event. It just started off as low-key them assembling. It was never supposed to turn into that. It wasn't premeditated. It wasn't planned out already. Like, bruh, that's a bombshell for me.
Spoke. And then we had in his Airbnb, we had the lead singer of the Misfits, Michael Graves. Okay. He was going to do like a little unplugged session for us. Yeah. So like, what did this jury think that we were going to overthrow the U.S. government at 1:00 and then go an hour and a half later across into Virginia and like.
Hey, Jesse, is that any flag though? Like any flag? Like I can understand the country's flag, but like any flag is a crime? Any flag burning?
Listen to a concert? Like it sounds cool as shit. They make it sound so cool, dude.
Yeah. So real quick, just going back to you with the with the Pence thing. Like so would you say like everything started getting crazy once it was confirmed that Pence wasn't going to send the votes back to the states?
Well,
He's going to confirm the election results.
I started to see some tension in the crowd even before we got to the Capitol, just because, you know, I think all of us knowing that the 2020 election was stolen, this really seemed like the last opportunity without Trump declaring the Insurrection Act. It was the last opportunity for us to basically deal with the 2020 election fraud. Yeah. And so as it started to seem more and more like they're just going to try to push this through, they don't give a shit that there's too many million people here. I think people were starting to get a little bit angry, and, you know, agitated. Like there's a lot of love there too. Don't get me wrong. Like a lot of patriotism, a lot of prayers. Like people were united. But I think when you had those people with those emotions, and you had the police then start attacking, and it was like a powder keg. Yeah. Automatically.
Yeah, they were kicking the pit bull's cage.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, and the door was loose.
Yeah,
they knew exactly what they were doing.
I don't think enough attention gets put onto Mike Pence for basically betraying the Donald Trump and the GOP in general for confirming that, because, you know, Democrats and liberals always say, oh, the conservatives are conspiracy theorists with the election, but there's quite a bit of evidence that shows that at least it warrants an investigation.
Right.
With you know the election fraud that everyone.
He just signed on it. He's a fucking coward. Is what he is.
Pence,
He's a fucking coward.
Well, he represents a bigger problem with all these rhinos. You know, what I mean?
You saw him getting those pieces of silver afterwards too.
Yeah.
Just like
wait, what?
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a video of this right after he said that he pushed through the certification.
Yeah.
I think it was, I don't remember which Democratic politician, but it was one of the high-ranking Democratic politicians, gave him like 2 coins. Like it was like some sort of like symbolic gesture. It was really weird.
Yeah.
It was really weird. Yeah. But you know, the thing, Myron, about what Mike Pence did that's so aggravating.
Can you explain it to the audience too? Because like a lot of people here might not be familiar with like politics and how our civic government works when it comes to certifying the election and stuff. Why this was such a betrayal? Because I really want people to understand how much of a piece of shit Mike Pence really is.
Right.
But please.
Yeah. So you have the election. That's when the people vote, and then a month later you have the Electoral College is basically supposed to vote based on what, you know, like the people did. Technically, they can do what they want, but that's, you know, typically how it goes. Then you have the final step before the actual inauguration, which is a certification of the electoral vote. Basically, Congress has all the electoral votes, and then they decide, okay, yep, the election's legitimate. We certify this, and now the different people can move forward to the presidency. Now, the issue with this whole thing was that you had 5 different states that the legislatures had sent separate slates of electors. All the swing states said, this is bullshit. A lot of the state senators said, this is bullshit. We need to have this investigated. Nobody was really asking Mike Pence to overturn the election. They were asking him to pause the certification and investigate the fraud in the swing states, like the state legislatures of those swing states wanted. That's why we were so pissed off. It wasn't like,
all right, man, take it easy,
Mike Pence,
bipolar.
you have the ability to overturn the election. It was like, no, man, just like slow things down a little bit so that we can all come together as a nation and find out what really happened.
Yeah,
absolutely. That was really it. And everybody makes Trump out to seem like he was this dictator trying to steal the election, but really it was just a matter of let's bring some transparency.
And they try to skip past that whole part. I remember there was this viral clip of Biden being like, I certify the result. I certify the result. And literally was going back and forth, I think, with maybe a governor or it might have been a governor, or I can't remember the exact official, but she was trying to impress upon this man, like at every which point she could, like, what about this? What about that? He's like, I certify the result. I certify the result. No contest, no contest, no contest. Like literally try to skip over the whole thing. Try to skip over the result and just rush to inauguration. And that's almost what they did. Didn't stop for 2 seconds and even think about it. And that narrative still continues on today. That's why the narrative still continues on today. Like the 2020 election was, quote unquote, you know what?
Transparency to the table, because that's what we deserve. Obviously, there's enough Americans, which hasn't been properly represented by the mainstream media, that showed up. And when you see an event like this, especially a national event like this, when you see over 1 million people, that reflects a greater portion of the country, because a lot of people don't show up for these things, but those people represent the ideals that a lot of other Americans want to portray. And so it was, I think a poll was taken, over 80 million people believed that the election was stolen. That's a huge number. That's not a small,
That's low.
Crazy extreme number of people that wanted to overthrow the election. This is a genuine large portion of the population of America that believed genuinely that the election was stolen, and this individual Mike Pence was in a position to just bring some transparency to the table and couldn't do that. It wasn't about forcing anything. It was just, hey, let's take a moment and see what happened. Let's look at the numbers.
And I'm actually going to pull up a lot of the reasons why people feel that it was fraud, because I wrote a whole thread on this, and we investigated it. And I mean, at the bare minimum, it warranted a thorough investigation, which they never did, by the way, which is ridiculous. Like, people think that people were just rioting at the Capitol for no reason and they're going crazy. And it's like, dude, if you actually look at all the facts and circumstances that led to the 2020 election, which was unprecedented times. People were locked up in their homes. We weren't able to really calculate who really showed up to vote or whatever. Was there, ID registration? No, there was a bunch of problems with it.
And we went over that. I forget what it was called. By Dinesh D'Souza, the documentary maker. I think it was called 21 Mules, something Mules, and it was about the damn near organized crime ring that had mules act as traffickers to stuff ballots in ballot boxes, and several coordinated events across multiple swing states. A very coordinated and planned out event. Dinesh D'Souza covered it expertly, and I think the documentary is 21 Mules or something like that. You'll have to search that on our channel. I'll look the documentary up and let you guys know what it's called exactly, but we did cover it here on the channel. It was a great watch. So a lot of speculation still to this day around what happened in 2020. It's crazy. And again, like I said, we just kind of skipped over, swept it under the rug.
On that day, what about you? Can you take us through what went down on that day from your perspective?
Yeah, so I had gotten there a couple days early. Obviously, Enrique had already explained what happened to him, and so I was given what the government calls war powers. So we're the Proud Boys, the undisputed leader on the ground for the Proud Boys. A lot bigger. Sounds a lot crazier than it really is. My prerogative.
2,000 mules. 2,000 mules.
Like my main, objective was really to keep guys on the move and away from big crowds, because when I came to DC, you could feel the aura. It was weird. It was off. And I've been on the way. I grew up on the West Coast, And most of my Proud Boy career is on the West Coast. So I'm used to violence. I'm used to Antifa and crazy stuff getting wild. It wasn't that. It was like they wanted us to be there. You know what I mean? And so there's a different creepy feeling when
I see some of the mods and some of the members piling up in the chat, man. Good to see everybody tonight. Hopefully everybody's having a great night. We're covering the J6ERS. We got Enrico Terrio and a few others right now covering the events from their experience, from their firsthand account from January 6th. I don't know if I've ever seen them all be sitting on a panel and talk about the event. So candidly, we got it right here. We're going to break down the whole thing, and it is calling. So I would love to hear what you guys think on this topic. Any other topics, any other current events that you guys want to chime in on, go ahead and call in. I've posted it in the community tab. So go ahead and check it out on the channel. Would love to get some of you guys up here. Let's continue, though. Super chat into the stream as well, guys. We do appreciate the continued support. Let's keep it going.
When you have that. And so I said, okay, instead of having just a point A rally point where we don't move and people gather to us, I wanted to stay on the move to have a point A, point B back to point A march away from the main crowds. So that we started out at the Washington Monument. We gathered there at 10 a.m. and we started the march down to the Capitol simply to do hearts and minds, kiss babies and give hugs and recruit,
Shake hands and kiss babies. Let's clear that up.
Shake hands and kiss babies. To all you weirdos out there, stop. But just hearts and minds. Give people an understanding of who we really are, because obviously there's a lot of bullshit out there about who we are, and we're really just a bunch of good. We're a little rugged around the edges, but we're good-hearted dudes. We want to show up, and honestly, for both sides, really, like if you're out there and you need some help, and you're just trying to exercise your First Amendment right, like, we got you. You know what I mean?
And if anybody fucking touches you, I mean, I guess that's where we get our rep from, right? So we've always been of the mind, like, we don't care if people scream at us or use a bullhorn or use a whistle. It doesn't matter. We consider that free speech. But when you put your hands on us or other Trump supporters,
it's over.
It's over with, dude. It's over with. We're not going to take it. And it's not because we're big and we're bad or anything like that. It's just like it's a natural masculine instinct
called being men.
Well, you guys were like sheepdogs. You guys were like sheepdogs.
Yeah. So that's why the media takes advantage of the Proud Boys. The mainstream media takes advantage of the Proud Boys, and they do this. They do this thing where they call us all sorts of names, like white supremacists.
Well, here's the thing:
you're the leader. You're not even white. How are they calling you a white supremacist,
dude?
I don't get this stuff. It's like that Zimmerman guy who was a white Mexican or something like that. Why do they always do this?
Nazi, white supremacists. They go through the whole array of things, and you know what? I thank them for it, because when people see, right, this podcast obviously has a video. Obviously, I'm not white. I speak better Spanish than I do English. Right there. Look at that.
You're Dominican, right?
He really doesn't go in the sun very much.
I'm Cuban. Don't say Dominican anymore. But
you're paler than I am.
There you go. Put me next
that's real white right there.
Oh, shit, you're fucking transparent, dude.
That's just got tired.
Is that racist to say that?
No.
All right. So,
only in a democratic state.
Yeah. But I thank them. I actually thank them for doing that, because I lean into it, right? Because they're like, "Oh, you're white supremacists." I let it roll. I don't answer.
And I can heavily relate to that. Just that mentality of somebody falsely labeling you, because we've heard it all here on this channel. Oh, you're a fleer. Oh, you're a tether, right? I'm getting into all the pejorative terms that S.E.T and Key have been labeled, right? You're a Russian collusionist, you're a Trumper, you're a conservative talker, or conservative right-wing pundit, talking head, figurehead. We just regurgitate talking points. We have no original thought. I've heard it all, right? I've heard it all. Oh, my favorite, Uncle Tom, Raccoon. My favorites right there. Coon and Uncle Tom are my all-time favorites. So I can really relate with that sentiment right there. I just let it roll. We hear this shit and it rolls off the shoulder. After so many times of hearing this shit, and it's not true, you damn near begin to laugh at it. And it's coming from a place of just being misinformed. It's coming from a low place of somebody who has a severely misinformed and misaligned view of you and what you're saying.
I let it roll, and I let people actually make up their own minds about us, right? Because we're not any of that. We're regular dudes. We're carpenters, plumbers, business owners. We're big on like business owners and small, opening small businesses and stuff like that. We're lawyers. We're ex-police officers, veterans. We're everything. We're everywhere. You ever seen Fight Club?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
You know, we're everywhere. We're everywhere.
And here's the thing, like the reason why we became so big, the reason why we ended up getting, mentioned on the debate stage from Trump himself, is because we were the only ones showing up when there was a problem, and everybody would sit on mainstream media and everybody like, well, how dare these people? Somebody's got to do something, and everybody would just sit there and stare at each other and point at the problem while Americans were getting beat in the streets.
Yeah,
I don't know if you guys remember the 2016-17 era of Portland and Berkeley and all that crap, and grandmas getting drugged through the streets just holding onto their American flags. We showed up and we beat the brakes off these people.
Yeah. We make self-defense look like assault.
Yeah.
I think
I like that.
I mean,
we make self-defense look like assault. God damn. Damn near the overly PC culture we live in nowadays. You make it seem like sticking up for yourself is you being an aggressor. I liked how he termed that. That was actually very accurate, I feel like.
Down the shirt, bro, and start selling it.
And beyond sticking up for yourself, speaking up for your rights, speaking up for constitutional rights, your American God-given rights, like your inalienable rights. That nowadays is criticized. That nowadays is seen as you being in the wrong. That nowadays is seen as you being an aggressor. It's actually crazy.
I've always found it funny
Makes
that
a great
these leftist
point.
organizations like Antifa, etc., they can practice ridiculous levels of violence, right? And they're still reluctant to call them domestic terrorists. They're burning BLM. They're burning cities down. They destroyed Minneapolis with the George Floyd protests. And, you guys, like, they went after you guys aggressively. I mean, we were talking about this before. What, 43% of the FBI workforce?
40% of the FBI workforce was dedicated entirely to January 6 investigations.
That's crazy.
And all the air marshals were.
Yeah, human trafficking details that were focused on saving children from being trafficked were redesignated to focus on January 6th. Just think about that for a second.
Maybe that was part of the plan in the first place.
It is part of the plan. So
they can think about that.
Yeah.
So they won't arrest their own.
That's what your government's focused on right now.
Yeah.
But
Well,
also
not
we
right now.
focus, another thing is like we focus like on like local stuff. You know what I'm saying?
When was the Proud Boys established?
We were established in 2016, in May of 2016.
Okay,
as a joke.
Right for the Trump stuff, right?
Right before Trump,
Yep.
right before Trump got elected. It was actually a joke on Gavin McInnes's podcast, and the joke kind of had this snowball effect. We went from when I joined, there was like 150 Proud Boys in existence. I joined very, very early. Now we have tens of thousands of Proud Boys. It's an international organization. We have chapters everywhere: South Korea, Australia, Canada, Mexico, Argentina, Poland, Ukraine, Russia, which is crazy, and they get along.
Interesting.
And we have it's a pretty big organization.
Yeah.
It was.
And guys, we do appreciate the support. Got almost 100 of y'all in here, man. Got a lot to cover still. We're gonna keep this one going. Full analysis and breakdown of this right now. They're just talking some ish, going over the events that happened on J6 as they seen them that day. This is a great conversation so far. So go ahead and like the video. You could also hit the 3 buttons in the upper right-hand corner, double tap the screen as well. Super chats do drive the stream forward and dictate the length of the stream, guys. So we do appreciate the support. But let your voice be heard by way of super chat, thought, questions, comments, anything you guys want to get off your chest and share to this chat. $2 or more, we'll go ahead and give you a shout out for sharing and read what you've said aloud. And mods, members, make sure to go ahead and call in. Free call-in show for you guys, man. We'd love to hear from you guys or from you guys on some of tonight's topics, anything else that's going on. Call in for a quick conversation or comment. Feel free. We're going to keep the stream going. But yes, we do appreciate the support, guys.
Just so you guys know, I'm gonna go because I was looking for the tweet, but I can't find it right now. But I'll go ahead and put a tweet for you guys below where like we outline everything that shows that the 2020 election is questionable at bare minimum.
Yeah.
Like literally, like I think there's like 20 examples of potential election fraud. there, and I'll put that link for you guys because I've talked about this ad nauseum. It's not like people were at the Capitol for no reason. Like it was bullshit, man. And Mike Pence had the chance to do something and he didn't do it. He's literally a traitor.
He's a traitor.
And I don't even know where he's at now, but
I think
Nowhere.
it also,
That's the whole point.
nowhere, right?
Absolutely
No,
nowhere.
that's it. He's in hiding.
He's the definition of a rhino.
He
Republican in name
rebuilt-
only.
Hey, you know, that is crazy. Mike Pence, damn near, I mean, for all intents and purposes, betrayed Trump that fateful day. And we ain't heard from that man since. I mean, it's been crickets. I mean, we haven't heard anything from that man. Like, even this election cycle, he hasn't made a name or a face or an appearance. It's you would expect him to have done so, like to an endorsed candidate, whether it be Trump or another Republican. But man, bro has been in hiding essentially. It's crazy. We haven't seen that man at all. Not even his shadow. But like I said, guys, it is call-in show. So we do got one of the mods, one of the longest standing mods and members. Steph, how you doing tonight?
Well, you already know how I'm doing tonight.
Yes,
But I
we
don't want to
know.
get into that on the live though.
Well, let's keep it positive, Steph. We'll like I said, I'm praying for you, and we always got you in our thoughts and prayers over here. But other than that, you have any comments on this video so far, or anything else that you've seen in the news line or the news headlines?
Well, it's also in regard to what the Gen 6 guy said. It basically boils down to what Gen X used to do. And what Gen X used to do anymore, if they're frowned upon about what they, of course, anything that they used to do, they would get in trouble or they would go to jail for anything that they used to do. That's why everybody is so out of control.
I'm sorry, Steph. Say who you're talking. I hear your point, but who are you referencing?
The guy that end up saying about if they go in they how did he say it?
Are you talking about the guy in the middle, Enrico Terrio?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, got you. So
I
what was
can't
he
remember
saying?
exactly how he said it to protect. Basically, it looks like an insult.
Oh, okay, yeah, I got you.
Sorry, I can't remember exactly what he said. I'm not on my game tonight. I apologize.
Oh no, it's all cool. Now he was saying some pretty solid points. I mean, I see somebody even in the chat saying it right now. It's kind of I'm gonna read it out exactly as he said. He said it's telling of the seriousness of the situation that Enrico wasn't even, or he was given the most jail time, but he wasn't even there on J6. And I think it all, like I said, it just at a certain point he was a political opponent because of the cause that he stood and fought on behalf of. I think it was very telling when he said he went to jail just off of the fact that he burned a Black Lives Matter flag. And I'm just like, okay, I get it. Like organization, movement, ideology for sure, but they're not a country. They're not
Right.
a governing body. Like, why is it a crime to burn their flag? I didn't get that at all. So it just seemed like they kind of had him in their political crosshairs, and they used that along with January 6th to kind of take him out.
And then the only other thing I have to add is British. They're finally standing up with their country and trying to get their country back to the with the illegals, trying to push out the illegals out of their country.
You said Great Britain is. It seems like they're trying to fight back against multiculturalism.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I think is a very nuanced issue. I think if we can look at what's happened in UK over the last 10, 15, 20 years as an example of what could happen to us, I think more people would kind of wake up to what multiculturalism has kind of done to their society. But I do like to see them taking it serious. Not that
Right.
migrants aren't going to be a thing. It is in any society, in any aspect of any society, migration is going to be a thing. But I do like to see that they're taking it a little bit more serious, understanding that it's affected people at this point.
Right.
But we got Don's in here as well, man. What's up, bro?
Just finished eating my dinner. It was pretty good.
What was you eating on, Don's?
Dude, I made latkes, which is like a Jewish potato pancake. So it's a mashed, but like soft, very creamy mashed potatoes on the inside, but a pancake on the outside. Oh, it's so good.
Fuck.
Yeah. I had a Jewish neighbor growing up. She was an old woman. She used to make them for me, and she taught me how to make them. Yes, a potato pancake.
Oh, okay. That's what I thought you said. All right.
Yeah.
Well, continue, my friend. Excuse my reaction.
Yeah, you can put like different things in the mashed potatoes you put in them, so it can be like garlic and chives, different stuff.
Okay.
Really good.
Got you.
On the news of the whole January 6th thing, a lot of people are misconstrued about like the officers that passed away who were there. There was not a single police officer at January 6th, as far as I've researched, who actually died from the insurrection. They all died from pre-existing health conditions.
Yeah, literally. I found that pretty funny. It only fuels the narrative that officers were hurt and harmed that day. But yeah, I think one guy died. He committed suicide because of the burden of, you know what I'm saying, like of what happened or what he's seen that day, PTSD essentially. And they chalk that up to casualty of what happened that day. I'm just like, come on.
And the only person that died actually that day, specifically from the event, was a veteran on the side of the people who were protesting. It was an Air Force veteran who was not armed, did not hurt anyone, and just happened to get too close to Congressional Hall and was shot and killed.
Crazy.
It's wild. And the officers who did that never got charged with a crime.
Bro, he just admitted right here on I think it was Enrico himself. He said the officer who shot Ashley Babbitt was pardoned by Biden.
Yup. That's who I was talking about, is Ashley Babbitt.
Man, you can't make this shit up. You can't make this shit up, man.
They literally wrongfully shot this woman. She did not have a weapon. There was no weapon on her. She did not hurt anyone. You have no justification at that point as a police officer to shoot her. You can detain her because she's trespassing, but you cannot shoot and kill a woman.
When it comes to shooting versus detaining versus using any type of other corrective action as a police officer, you have to have great discernment. Ashley Babbitt, like all these men, and everybody knows, like small, petite women, 110 pounds soaking wet. I would have rather, and I mean, take this with a grain of salt, or don't take me literally here, but I would have rather seen that officer beat Ashley Babbitt's ass than to shoot her that day. You know what I'm saying?
They openly admitted she was unarmed and she didn't hurt anyone, and there was even security footage proving it.
Roughhouse that woman than to shoot her that day.
Yeah,
like
I
think everybody would have rather have seen that, and Ashley Babbitt maybe have a bruise and a scar and still be here today versus ultimately losing her life.
Yeah, I don't understand why the cop thought it was within his right to shoot the woman when she was unarmed and hadn't hurt anyone. All she did was get too close to Congressional Hall. That makes no sense to me. And I have cops in my family, and that is not protocol.
Yeah, we've all seen the video to a degree. We've all seen the clip. It's hard to really assess whether she was kind of gaining entry on her own or she was kind of being forced through. But I do think the reaction by that police officer was, I mean, honestly, not only was it neglectful, but it was egregious.
She didn't have a weapon, Alex. She was completely unarmed. Everyone that saw the footage knows she did not have a single weapon on her. She hadn't hurt anyone. All she did was she pushed too deep in and got too close to Congressional Hall, and they shot her. Now, I would have understood if they beat the shit out of her and detained her. Okay, I get that. Yeah, you're trespassing. You're too close to Constitutional Hall. But, like, shooting someone who does not have a weapon for just going into a building, by the way, that we pay for with our taxpayer money. We have every right to be in that building, even though the government doesn't like that idea. We do. Just like if we wanted to go into the Pentagon, we have every fucking right to go into the Pentagon because we pay for the shit.
Yep.
But the government doesn't want to admit that. You can't come here. You can't go here. Well, sucks to suck. We pay for it.
Don't y'all work for us? Y'all supposed to be goddamn civil servants.
I
Fuck
live
that
the
is.
civil
Hey.
servant life, man.
Hey, Key.
Yes, ma'am.
Drum King wants to know how to get on the call-in.
Drum King, go ahead and check out the community tab on our channel, or it's actually just named the post tab now. So if you go on our channel, slide over, it's somewhere nestled between videos, lives, and shorts. It should say post, and it'll be the first thing you see. Click that link, and you'll be able to queue on up.
Joe
But,
Schmo, you also don't have the right to shoot someone who is unarmed for just breaking into your
And
house.
anybody else that's in the chat, feel free to go ahead and call in as well. If you're not a mod or a member, $5 or more, we'll be happy to host your call and get you up here for part of the conversation.
Is Joe Schmo still a member?
No.
I think he canceled his membership, if I'm correct.
Damn it. I was going to say, if he's still a member, he needs to get his ass up here. I will gladly debate him on the aspect of cops shooting unarmed individuals.
I'd love to see that one.
I would fucking love it.
But guys, let's continue on the video. I want you guys to stick around. We'll get you guys back up here. Just wanted to get your take on that real quick. It was good talking to you, Steph and Dons. Like I said, stick around. I'll get you guys back up here.
I have my YouTube link, so I'll just watch from the StreamYard.
All right, sounds good. All right, peace, you guys. All right, always love to get the members up here. Now, let's go ahead and mix things up a little bit. Keeping everything fresh here. We've been covering this J6. Let's keep the conversation going on this in the chat. But skipping ahead a little bit, let's get into the next video. We got this Andrew Callaghan, Channel News 5. We've covered a few of his videos before. Great on-the-ground content, IRL content. He does a great job. I like his work. It's not necessarily conservative. It's not necessarily liberal. He just does great work in general. I like his content. So let's get into this. He was there at an anti-Elon rally, man. This should be gold. This should be gold. Let's get into it. Should be fucking gold.
But I heard about the slogan. You look at my gray hair, you think I probably don't listen to rap music, and you're right. But I heard about the slogan in a podcast, and I thought that is the right idea. Elon Musk, he not like us.
And that's a Kendrick Lamar reference.
I wouldn't know. I know it's a rap music reference. How do the rappers say it?
They not like us.
They not like us. The billionaire shouldn't be able to tell all the rest of us what to do.
Stop the billionaire coup. Elon Musk is
referencing a reference that she doesn't even truly understand. I mean, you know what? I love my white folks, but goddamn, that was definitely somebody. That was definitely somebody's out of touch mom trying to be culturally relevant and kind of missed the cue. Was close, but no cigar. I give her credit. I give her credit for being close, but not quite all the way there yet. Close, but no cigar on that one.
literally raiding our government and destroying our country. I am become meme.
That's the one illegal alien that we have to get rid of.
Meanwhile, Trump and Musk's efforts to expand the power of the executive branch and slash the federal workforce continue.
What they're doing is illegal. He is not a government employee. 300 employees at the National Nuclear Security Administration were fired.
It's a coup.
It's a bunch of unelected billionaires who are ransacking our government.
This really does look like 1933 Germany. You know, Hitler did rule via executive order.
38 executive orders.
Just executive order after executive order. And it's unreal. It's fascism at its heart.
I have Hitler. What's wrong with that?
What's wrong with Hitler?
Yeah, Trump for emperor.
We want to downsize government, but make it better.
Stop the fucking billionaires.
He's firing a lot of federal workers. Many of these folks have civil service protection, so these things are against the law.
He's in the IRS today, I hear. He's getting all of our information. They're slashing jobs. They're slashing the Department of Education. They're slashing
Infectious disease experts, baby formula inspectors, livestock disease testers,
People in the FBI,
park rangers, bank regulators,
CDC.
drug addiction and cancer scientists.
basically slashing every resources that we have.
It's kind of like we're gutting the country from the inside out.
And why? Because they want to give themselves a big tax break or they destroy the middle class.
They're just trying to destroy our government, to wipe out the power of the people, and to put oligarchs in charge.
We can't roll over anymore. People are rolling over, and it's like, no.
America is resisting fascism like the entire world is.
Because the system sucks. It's done by design, and what we need is a revolution. We really do.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We are here live in New York City at Union Square.
And an anti-Elon rally is crazy. It is insane. Like I said, for all the naysayers, for all the people who don't like Elon, don't like the initiative, don't like DOGE or Trump, there's a whole rally of people here clearly that we're about to cover right now. But there's a lot of support for what Elon has got going on, the initiative, the cause, so to speak, and what these boys are trying to do at DOGE. So we're gonna watch this, we're gonna break it down, but there's a lot of support out there for what Elon and Trump are doing as well.
For the anti-Elon Musk, anti-billionaire.
But right now, certain people with, I would say, a certain political affiliation are lashing out right now like a badass kid when they don't get their way. I mean, it's 5 or 6 weeks after the election, and we still got some people crying just because their favorite candidate didn't get in.
Stop the coup, fuck the King's protest. We're going to talk to some people about how they feel about everything going on right now.
In this country, I have friends, I have family who are transgender. You can't roll back history. My friend Yvonne Ritter, who just died last year, who was one of the key people at Stonewall.
For context, the Stonewall riots were a series of events that occurred after New York City police attempted to illegally raid and shut down a prominent queer bar in the 60s. It was 6 days of mayhem and is generally considered to be the launch point for the modern gay rights movement.
The other day, we all woke up to see that the T was removed from the website honoring the Stonewall riots.
References to transgender and queer people have been removed from the Stonewall National Monument section on the National Park Service website. This comes as the Trump administration continues to push for federal agencies to only recognize two genders, male and female.
And this is absolutely outrageous. It's like undoing history. It's reversing history. You can't do that. So they might have removed the T, but they can't undo the history. That's why we're here. That's why it's important to have this flag. I'm an immigrant from Ireland. I came here because I was gay. It was a criminal offense in Ireland at the time. And I came here precisely because there was room here if you were queer, if you were gay. Now this policy is reversing that.
President Trump keeps his promise to get wokeness out of the United States Armed Forces as he signs.
Somebody, I don't know, maybe somebody with a better understanding of, I mean, is as much as I've analyzed Trump's content, done as much research as I have, and as much analysis as I've given into Trump politics, so on and so forth. Maybe somebody with some knowledge that I don't possess can just break it down a little bit deeper. Am I missing a certain aspect? Did Trump ban being gay? Did he outlaw gays? Like, is it now a crime to be gay in the United States of America? I'm missing something because I just don't get like where this fear mongering is came from. Like this, there's just this unrealistic fear that Trump has now made it illegal to be gay. Like, tell me where I missed it. Did I miss an executive order? Was it done in secrecy? Like, did he send a memo out or something like that? Like, come on, like, let me in.
Multiple executive orders to reshape the military.
And late today at the White House, President Trump signing an executive order banning transgender women from competing in women's sports.
The administration has issued orders for hospitals, for instance, to stop providing health care for young people, for children, for adults who are transgender.
President Trump recently signed an executive order halting federal support for gender-affirming health care for people under 19 years of age.
Can you imagine being in the middle of treatment and all of a sudden a directive comes from Washington to stop that treatment? My husband is a pediatric hematologist oncologist. I've been inspired by him as I watched him care for children with sickle cell and with cancer. And I understand how important trials are and research. So the cuts, the directives from Washington have literally cut and threatened the life, therefore, of many children across America and young people.
The Trump administration has told federal health agencies to pause external communications.
So it's very practical. It's not just rhetoric. It literally impacts real lives, families who love their children, who care for their families.
He's acting like a king or wannabe dictator, and I think it's pathetic.
This country is moving very rapidly under Trump into an authoritarian form of society.
We have a government where powers are supposed to be separated between equal branches. The executive branch is not authorized to simply defund
programs that have been appropriated by Congress. They're seizing power. They're firing civil service members to put in loyalists.
Overnight, President Trump firing the nation's top military leaders.
I would have countered everybody that I interviewed that day with, the fact remains that Elon only makes suggestions, right? He's only making suggestions based on his expertise of what he sees when overseeing these books. He has a team of advisors and coordinators that work with and within Trump's administration that then process, oversee, and decide to approve or deny these suggestions. Elon just doesn't have this autonomous power where he could just snap his finger and people are fired and shit gets done. Like, no, he makes a suggestion. That's all he is. He's almost an advisor, especially appointed advisor. Oh, but Elon, he just has all this power. He's just so evil. He's trying to be a dictator. He's really running the country. Whoa. Again, you realize he has no actual power, right? Oh, but we're making up a new one. It's not TDS anymore. It's EDS. People got Elon derangement syndrome because I'm just like, bruh, sometimes I don't get it. It's like your bias just outweighs everything else, outweighs reality at a certain point, and you just start going crazy. It's TDS times 2. What? The shit is ridiculous.
In an unprecedented purge.
The Republican Congress is not checking him on this. They're too timid to do so. And that's why I'm here. I hope we can get back to the democracy we've had for 250 years.
What are some of the executive orders that you found most egregious in this first month of the new term?
Oh, end of birthright citizenship, without a doubt.
President Trump's executive order to end birthright citizenship has kicked off an unprecedented legal battle over immigration policy.
I'm also worried about there's a bill been introduced in the House to make a national ban on abortion.
I think the executive orders firing inspector generals, I would say, because they are the watchdogs of our society.
Within days of taking office, President Trump fired more than 17 inspectors general across the federal government.
Eliminating any DEI in government programs, which has frightened other agencies and people to stop teaching history and stop teaching about our true history. And
all agencies were directed to put DEI staff on leave. Employees ordered to remove pronouns from their signatures. Diversity inclusion programs shuttered.
I stand by DEI. I'm not going to give up on these terms. Language is structural. It's not just a matter of, exchanging DEI with excellence. I think you have to stick and fight for these terms that we've so hard fought to have inserted in our institutions. I'm active in the cultural world, and I don't let go of it so quickly.
Why do you think they're attacking it so much?
Because they are racist and equate any challenge to the economic system in this country with people who are not white, and it's actually the opposite. Without immigrants or people who represent diversity in very different aspects, we would be in a much, much, much worse condition.
Tonight, Walmart joining a growing list of companies rolling back diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives.
Why do you think there is so much focus on DEI right now?
Because I always think scapegoating people is easy, and I think that they're racists.
Stop the fucking billionaires.
Top 5 worst billionaires. What comes to mind?
Well, Elon Musk, Donald Trump.
I mean, that's an unfair question. Like, let's be honest. Top 5 worst billionaires. Like, there's thousands of billionaires, obviously, but the most notable ones only come to mind, like Bill Gates, George Soros, Elon Musk, or Mark Zuckerberg. Like, you're gonna only name the ones that are on like the top of your brain, on the tip of your tongue. And there's only so many notable billionaires. A lot of billionaires we don't know, but there's only a few that we really know and that are like billionaires and celebrities at a certain point. Elon is just one of those names. It's almost not even fair to ask that question. That's like saying, list the top 5 billionaires that come to mind. Elon is also one of the only ones that come to mind, and one of the most hated ones at the same time.
If he actually is a billionaire, Bill Gates is pretty bad, but not as bad as Jeff Bezos. And trying to think of another one.
Larry Fink.
Larry Fink. Very good. Zuckerberg's also a fucking terrible billionaire.
As far as wealth distribution goes, do you feel like anybody should be a billionaire?
Probably not. But the thing is that what's more important is that the billionaires shouldn't be able to tell all the rest of us what to do.
Right.
I think they can earn $1 billion, but then they have to have fair taxation.
Hey, and shout out Vlad, man. We do appreciate that support, man. $5. These people argue for DEI but want segregation at the same time. SMH, they are too shallow. Like, bro. And I don't really think they realize the cognitive dissonance behind their argument. Like, because you're exactly right. Like, they want something at a certain point, but they don't want the whole thing. They only want certain aspects, certain portions, favorable portions and aspects. It's hypocrisy and idiocy at a certain point because they're asking for something that isn't really possible, given the angle that they're asking from it. They're given the angle they're asking for it from. So, but that's lefties though. That's lefties right there. I mean, it's atypical of their type.
Billionaire Jeff Bezos pays 0 in taxes.
Because we want to encourage people, and to be, I mean, you've hit my main issue here, but they hate the government. The government is set up for them to succeed.
The same goes for larger corporations. Smaller companies barely survived the pandemic, while larger corporations simply coasted through. The reason for this was the higher taxes.
And they get a lot of benefits from it. Everybody knows, right? Elon has like billions in government contracts, et cetera, especially his space program.
SpaceX alone has received $19 billion from the federal government, and it is poised to take in several billion a year.
At the president's request.
Does that present a conflict of interest for you?
No, because first of all, I'm not the one, filing the contract. It's people at SpaceX or someone who will be putting for the contract.
He is living off government contracts and cutting off USAID to countries that are desperately in need of food. Meanwhile, he's sitting.
Whoa. Nobody said USAID was getting shut down. Obviously, they're under heavy reformation right now. Obviously, we're getting in there and we're working out some of the kinks, iron out some of the details, because I don't know if you've been living under a rock, but some of the shit that they've been spending money on is insane. It's egregious. So yeah, we're fixing some of that. We're getting that together. But nobody said that USAID was going to be shut down or they weren't going to be able to continue. We just got to make sure they're doing what they're supposed to be doing.
On piles of cash.
Backlash after Elon Musk seized control of USAID, the agency that provides U.S. humanitarian assistance around the world.
Oh, the USAID is ridiculous, and the lies around it are unreal. And if you turn on Fox News, it's literally just a propaganda machine.
Angry Democrats throwing a hissy fit after Elon Musk dropped the DOGE hammer on the Hunter Biden of government agencies.
Supposedly there's $200 million worth of food that's being held up in ports right now. Condoms that need to go to Africa. AIDS medication. It's ridiculous.
Around the world, we are doing important medicine to help things from getting out of hand, like COVID. Those things, we are a big interconnected world. Those things come here.
All the money to fight diseases in other countries, that's going to come back to bite us when those diseases land here on our shores.
But hell, I don't want Ebola to come here and mutate. I don't want AIDS to mutate because
I should note that following Trump and Musk's defunding of USAID, they've since decided to reinstate funding for Ebola and HIV research.
We have, for example, funding for Ebola prevention and for HIV prevention. Yes, correct.
Still, many of Elon's critics view his gutting of USAID as a strange, unnecessary thing, given its relative small percentage in the overall government spending budget.
USAID spending, foreign aid is not a large percent of our budget. Defense is a tremendous one. Social Security, Medicare, but foreign aid is a tiny, tiny fraction of American spending.
USAID's $43 billion budget is a tiny fraction of what the government spends, about 1%.
It's about $100 per taxpayer in America, although, if you have to figure out how much of that is really well-off people versus poor people, it's not on average. So it's a tiny, tiny amount of money that pays off tremendously for the benefit for Americans. People look at us as positively around the world.
Support is a critical lifeline for people in need around the world. helping an estimated 32 million children suffering malnutrition and bringing food, water, shelter, and health care to victims of natural disasters.
In addition to being a humanitarian disaster, there's just no goodwill. You know, we will become the hated country in the world, just like Germany was under the Nazis.
Some former officials say it could leave fragile countries more vulnerable to the influence of nations like Russia and China.
They're also cutting programs to help hungry kids here. It's a ridiculous survival of the fittest that we probably should move past as a civilization just a little bit.
Hey man, thanks so much for your time. I appreciate it. Our show's called Channel 5 on YouTube. Yep, that's right. You're watching Channel 5. I think like Trump. The toe.
I love Trump, Daddy Trump.
Back to the streets of Union Square. You seem to like Trump.
I love Trump, Daddy Trump. Trump for emperor.
So how do you think about this whole concept of a coup happening?
It's hilarious. I'm out here to watch the shit show in the Trove.
What do you think about Elon Musk?
I think he's hot. He needs a date a tranny. No, I totally would fuck him so bad.
So you don't think the Hitler salute was legit?
Hi, Hitler. What's wrong with that?
What's wrong with Hitler?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, some people would say a lot of things.
8 million Jews can tell you what's wrong with Hitler.
This is America. Everyone's entitled to their own beliefs and
all good, baby.
Trump, more shrimp, more shrimp. Always room for more shrimp. Definitely room for less Trump. So if there's one message for the people of America at home or worldwide, less Trump, more shrimp. Heard it here first.
You have anything to say to the world?
Definitely like stand up to fascism. There's a hostile takeover of the government happening. A bunch of billionaires are reaping the benefits from it, and we're all getting fucked. So people gotta hit the streets and make it happen. Also, like more shrimp, less Trump.
Obviously, everybody at the rally was
joke on that. More shrimp, less Trump. I don't know. But let's transition back over here to this J6 video with Myron Gaines, Enrico Terrio, and a couple other of the January 6ers. This was just about to get good. Let's double back over here and get right back into it.
He rebuilt Biden's basement, and he's just sitting there.
Is it safe to say that Pence was Trump's biggest mistake?
Right back.
I think so.
Yeah.
Well, you know,
I mean, he was clearly a mistake. I think that the big question is, did the Republican Party force him to take Pence in the beginning? Because at the beginning, I think he had no choice. At that time.
And I actually talked about this. I said a big reason why he ended up with like idiots like John Bolton and guys like Mike Pence on his thing is because Trump actually, if you look at him, like he didn't think he was going to win. Like he was actually shocked when he won. Yeah. So when he won, this is a businessman out of New York City. He doesn't know anyone in DC. Right. So what ended up happening is when you come in as a president, you got like 4,000 jobs that need to be filled. Yeah. So all these old GOP establishment guys just filled the void. And this is why Trump couldn't get anything done the first 2 years that he was in. And then that's why Project 2025 became a thing, was because they needed to bring in Trump loyalist guys that can actually get stuff done. Now, look at how fast he's moving with getting things done with executive orders, putting people in position, because he's already been through the rigmarole in DC. So now he knows who to trust and who not to. But his first term, he literally just had to put establishment GOP shells and kind of rely on them, and he couldn't get shit done.
And that's what the 2020 election was in many ways like a total blessing for all of us. I mean, maybe not to us personally, but for the country, it certainly was.
We needed it.
We needed it. We needed it. And, you know, at the time on January 6th and even up to the inauguration, I was like, how is he just going to let him take it? You know, how is he just going to let him steal the country? And then a few months later, I'm like, no, he made the right decision, because we probably would have gone the Civil War if he had really fought against it. And now what happened is he gave him 4 years to be completely mask off. The most corrupt, fucking incompetent people in the planet running the United States, running it into the ground. And because of that, the public woke up. Public's come together. Now we have a mandate for lasting change. We're going to wipe the communism off the face of this country.
Now, from what I understand, someone's telling me that Nancy Pelosi pretty much controls the Capitol Police, right? She's like the main person.
She certainly did at the time.
Yeah, at the time. Did she not? Did she tell them to pull back when Trump tried to send other reinforcements there?
Yes.
Or can you kind of go through it? Because I want to get it from people that were actually on the ground.
Yeah, well, Trump offered to send the National Guard in, and then they made numerous offers to send National Guard, and she turned it down every time
because she thought the Capitol Police could handle it.
Well, that's what she said.
That's what she said.
But I think it's pretty the evidence is pretty clear. I think circumstantially that the whole thing was a setup.
Yeah.
You know, Byrd was connected to her directly. Byrd was one of he wasn't just in Capitol Police officer Byrd is the one who killed Ashley Babbitt.
Yeah.
So there's some indications that he may have gotten the order directly from, like it came directly from Pelosi. Maybe not Pelosi exactly on the comms with him,
chief of staff,
but her chief of staff. Like that was they wanted an example made.
And a lot of people don't know this. The Speaker of the House is the third most powerful person in the United States.
Yes,
After the Vice President,
that's it.
That's the next line of succession. A lot of people don't know that.
I'd actually say the Speaker of the House is more
powerful.
Yeah, more powerful because he actually does more stuff every day.
Yeah. Has the purse strings.
Yeah, 100%.
If that speaker is able to whip, up these votes and get people on the same page, it's a lot more powerful than the president of the United States. Because some people forget it's Article 1 of the Constitution is actually the first thing that they thought of was the House of Representatives and the Senate, right? So although it's an equal branch, it is the most powerful branch because it is the people's house.
Yep.
Right.
Because they're supposed to be like the actual representative.
Bro, and the Speaker of the House, I don't know if a lot of y'all know this, extremely influential and prominent position within our government. I think they're right behind the vice president as far as chain of command. So yeah, for everybody that's wondering, like, oh, why they've always been going at Nancy Pelosi, they took a shit on her desk. Why do they hate the bitch so much? Yeah, because she, along with the J6 committee, bro, she's partially, well, not even partially, mainly the reason why a lot of these citizens are serving or were serving these prison sentences. Beyond that, again, extremely influential and important, prominent position in our government.
Of the people.
And some people think she even colluded that day to turn January 6th into the major event that it was. And beyond that, there's just a lot of other speculation and collusion that circulates with her name, insider trading, poor decision making, things of that nature. So she's honestly, her credibility and whether or not she was serving the country well was already in question before this. January 6th just added to the reasons of why people don't really like Nancy Pelosi.
And the executive, it's in the word. Their job is to execute legislation, the will of the people. He executes the will of the people.
Who is the chief of police? I forget his name. I got a chance to talk to him in DC.
No,
His son or something like that.
We talked to him, son or son.
So I got the chance to talk to him in DC, and he was telling me about how it took over 2 hours to get a response for the National Guard, right? And I was kind of just comparing, like, okay, what other event would this have been normal, or if any? And he said none. It was like, so anytime,
Chief of Police for Metro PD,
no,
Washington
for
DC,
Capitol
Police.
Police.
Okay,
yes.
Right. So
he got
for that
fired.
request,
Yeah.
he got fired.
There's multiple police departments, like in DC especially. You got Metro.
You stand in a corner in DC, you can be arrested by the FBI, Metropolitan PD,
Secret
Capitol
Service
Police,
is there,
U.S. Park
Park
Police.
Police. Everyone is there.
So I asked him, I asked him, how normal is it to get that kind of response? He's like, absolutely, it's out of bounds. Like if I ask for National Guard, they have a response team ready to go within probably 5 to 10 minutes of being there. They're ready to go. So for the fact that he had to wait 2 hours and basically at the end of it get a no, he's like, it was something that I've never seen before, and it kind of speaks to the whole situation so that people kind of understand. This wasn't a matter of like things just got chaotic and out of control, and there's so many people that overwhelmed the police, and the people were just doing the best job. No, they spent 2 hours trying to do one specific thing to get National Guard in there. And people have a conflicting feeling. Well, if they needed National Guard, well, how are you guys the good guys? And it's just kind of like your side and our side kind of an argument. But really, the biggest thing that was lacking there was communication. There was no cops on bullhorns or loudspeakers telling us what they were going to do.
Yep.
Hey, this is a riot now. We're going to start firing non-lethals into the crowd. If you guys don't, they just started shooting people.
Yeah.
And
so
it
there
was
was no escalation. They didn't.
There was
like, they
no
didn't say, hey, get out the premises.
escalation.
They let you guys in, and then all of a sudden, then they say, hey, then they start shooting. And
there was a brief time of escalation, right? Where
Wow.
inside of the crowd, people stormed the Capitol, and then it chilled the hell out. It was chill as as all could be, and people were walking around. I walked into a door, like I got up to the
with a cop next to that door.
yeah,
And the
I
cops-
saw an entrance where everybody's going
That's
through a
exactly
window,
right.
and I'm like, I'm
Exactly
too well known, not a good idea. So I see this other entrance with like 10 cops outside, and they're holding up a door. I'm like, I'm going over there, and that's exactly what I did. It's on video and everything. And it's like in that moment.
So this quote unquote storming of the Capitol, where they aggressively and forcefully made way into the Capitol after storming past police barricades, assaulting officers, using batons, sticks, and other weapons that they had on hand to, again, aggressively make way and make entry into the Capitol. This story of how they just took over that day, right? It really, honestly, when you hear the accounts of people who were there, none of it's true. I mean, they were almost ushered in. They were almost urged to go in, like directed in at a certain point. It seemed like that was just where the event was taking place from the account my man is sharing. Like he said, it wasn't even it wasn't even a remarkable thing. Like it wasn't something that it just they made entry because that's just where everybody was going. It wasn't like they forcefully made their way in. It was like they were let in. It was like they were ushered to the area that they were in, and then all of a sudden the thing just escalated and exploded, from my understanding here. So it's crazy that this day, let's call it this day of infamy in our American history at this point, January 6th, for all it's cracked up to be, was more or less not that much of a big boom from the accounts of people who were actually there.
Omen as a civilian, how are you supposed to know that that's not okay?
Yeah.
There's no signs. I mean, it's their job to tell you if it's not okay or not. It's a public building, so if it's restricted, it is their job to let me know that. There's no signs that say this is a restricted area, and so you know.
Now we know. I didn't realize that much of the FBI workforce, which, by the way, just so you guys know, about 35,000 employees at the FBI, 40,000, something like that. The biggest federal law enforcement agency in the country.
35,000 too much.
Something like that. So, and so take me through. Did they actually arrest you, or did you turn yourself in?
No, they arrested me. My arrest warrant.
Take me through that day.
Yeah. So my arrest warrant was signed in 3 hours in the Biden's presidency.
And shout out, we do have Don's in here, man, one of the mods and members. Let's get him back up on stage real quick. What's going on, brother?
Well, I had one mention about so there were two different events over the past, like, what was it, like 5-6 years? We had the BLM riots, and then we had the insurrection, right? I want to point out one thing about the BLM riots that a lot of people don't hear about.
Right.
Everyone here knows that, like, a lot of wealthy, like, liberal politicians that held office did donate money to BLM and Antifa, correct?
I'm not sure how many do actually know that.
Yeah, there were. I mean, I guess one could argue it was all from the side of philanthropy, right? Because they're trying to support, like, these people. But I mean, just saying, some of those people that donated that money held political office.
Where there's smoke, there's fire, and I smell collusion.
Yeah, I mean, and it's like not the first time stuff is like this has happened in the country. I mean, we can even talk about the stuff with Trump, right?
Yeah.
The attempted assassination against Trump and, like, all this stuff that's been going on. I made an argument that there was a form of terrorism, and actually, while I'm talking here, can you still hear me?
Of course.
Well, I just want to Google search this real.
And guys, while he's doing that, man, make sure to like the video, man. Sankey Media call-in show, man. This is going to be a shorter stream. We're going to transition into the next video after this one, guys. Love getting you guys up here, though. Feel free to go ahead and queue yourself up on the call. If you're a mod or member, man, supporters, go ahead. $5 or more will host your call. Shout out. Like the video. Otherwise, double tap that screen. You can hit the 3 buttons in the upper right-hand corner. We do appreciate the support. Super chat into the stream as well, guys. Oh man, Don's hitting us with the live Google search. Shout out.
Yeah, I was trying to find it, but there's a type of terrorism that essentially what the idea behind it is you take the media and you take social media and you paint a bad picture of an individual or a group of people. And the idea is that if you put enough of this negative light on this group of people, that people in society will then take action and take violent actions towards these people. Now, if you look at what the media was doing this entire time against Trump, one could argue it was that specific form of terrorism, and the whole purpose why they were giving that type of negative light on the president and all these people around him, and even currently, is to fuel people to take action and to try to take violent action towards the president. One can even argue current events with the sheer hatreds towards Elon, who's really doing, like, I feel for the dude as someone who's also on the spectrum. You know, me and Elon are both autistic. Like, I feel for him.
I mean,
And
he's doing the Lord's work at this point, right?
yeah, he's doing all he can do, and he's doing it the best he can. Yeah, he's going to make mistakes along the way, but I'm also going to point out another thing. Elon is more certified to handle large amounts of money than most of the people currently working in the U.S. Treasury. The people in charge of your money are less certified than Elon. Actually, the people in charge of your money are less certified than me. There's
And you know what, guys, that is what greatly pisses me off, because I'm just like, they're saying Elon isn't qualified. I'm like, bro, he's the world's richest man. Do y'all not think he knows a thing or two about money and efficiency?
Oh my God. And there's a lot of people in the Treasury Department who, like, at most have like a single master's and an associate's degree. They may have a master's in, like, let's just say they have a master's in business management, and then they have an associate's in accounting. Boom, you're working for the Treasury, right? I think the minimum should be you have to have a master's in, let's just say, either finance and accounting, a double master's, or a master's in business management and a master's in finance or accounting, and then an associate's in whatever, in accounting or finance, whichever one you don't have a master's in. But you have these people who are dealing with the United States money, who are literally in office in the Treasury, who aren't even as certified as the average manager of a large scale bank conglomerate. It's insane. These people should not be able to manage the sheer amount of money they are. You're talking trillions upon trillions of dollars. It makes zero sense. But along the lines of Elon, what they're doing is, if we paint a bad enough negative light on Elon, someone's going to take violent action against him. At least that's my thought process.
Say he's getting an alarming amount of death threats, and I'm just like, well, goddamn, you know, Elon's got security. I'm like, what death threat is really reaching Elon? Like,
they want people to try to off him, just like they wanted people to try to off Trump.
So you're saying that they're trying to radicalize,
and no one realizes this is exactly what's going on.
So you're alluding to the fact that they're trying to radicalize people through some of this, well, not even subliminal messaging, some of this direct messaging that we get through the media, all these narratives that they're painting against the man.
Yes, and one could also argue what they're doing also is trying to start a civil war. They want the Liberal Party, which, by the way, there's a huge difference between the Liberal Party and the Democrat Party. I do not associate.
Don, to piggyback off that point, I feel like there's an overall narrative of division that they try and place on Trump, and to do so, they hacks that. They, funny enough, as much as they say Trump is divisive, their narratives are divisive, and as much as they purport them and push them onto us, I feel like that's what causes the true division.
Oh, 100%. What they're trying to do is they're trying to turn the people against Trump. They want a coup. They want people to still try to off Trump.
Nancy Pelosi video, and I can't fucking find it.
Have you showed the Nancy Pelosi's desk statue on stream yet? Because you need to if you haven't. It's funny as hell.
The
one with the bronze turd. Oh, it's great. It's in DC.
I don't think. Oh, okay. I see it right here. Is this it, Don's?
Is it the one with the giant bronze turd on it that says her name on a placard? Then yes.
Are you looking at it?
Yes, it's beautiful. That's modern artwork right there. That should be a museum.
I'm looking for this clip of Nancy Pelosi describing, here we go, right here. I think this is it. It exactly coincides in what you were just saying.
And all the rest.
Not necessarily the terroristic aspect, but this is exactly what they did with Trump when it came to narratives.
You demonize, and then we call it the wrap-up smear. If you want to talk politics, you call it the wrap-up smear. You smear somebody, with falsehoods and all the rest. And then you merchandise it. And then you write it, and they'll say, see, it's reported in the press that this, and this. So they have that validation that the press reported the smear, and then it's called the wrap-up smear. Now I'm going to merchandise the press's report on the smear that we made. And it's a tactic, and it's self-evident. You demonize, and then we call it the wrap-up.
Yeah. So I mean, that right there, I mean, akin to what you were saying, it's just how they get the populace to buy into a narrative, and how it just kind of fuels the division, it fuels the hate. You know what I'm
Yes,
saying?
and when it's done to the degree that they did it specifically towards Trump, I forget what the term. It's something. It's stochastic terrorism. Ah, I remembered. Okay, so it's called stochastic terrorism. You should Google search it and pull it up. But the idea is essentially you use the media and social media and all these different platforms to demonize an individual, to inspire someone in the public, people who in the public who are prone to possibly take violent action, to take violent action against an individual. It's essentially a form of
What is
indirect
it called
terrorism.
again?
Stochastic terrorism. I can I'll post in the chat. I believe
Are you
it's
saying
spelled
fantastic?
stochastic.
Sarcastic?
Yes, stochastic. Let me see. Stochastic.
Huh. Okay. I'm not familiar, I'll be honest. But definitely do my research on it.
But the idea is you essentially just
stochastic. Okay.
Stochastic, yeah. And if you read that, you're gonna be like, damn, that's what they were doing. And it is literally exactly what happened. They were using the media, they were using social media to radicalize people who would take violent action against Trump and his constituents. And that's why they were pushing him so hard, and they were calling him a racist, and they were calling him a fascist, they were calling him the second coming of Hitler. You know, they were calling him all this different stuff in hopes that someone would take action and off the man. Now, a couple people tried, one of them almost succeeded, but one can argue that if you understand the definition of what that is, that's exactly what they were doing. They were trying to get someone to off Trump. Now they are trying to get someone to off Trump and Elon.
Oh shit. All right.
And they don't want any ties. So they're going to do it through, like, obviously manipulative means by, you know, not actually telling someone to do it, but like radicalizing people to the point where they will. So, like, if you throw enough shit in a direction, eventually it'll stick and someone will do something about it. And that's essentially what the idea behind stochastic terrorism is. If we throw enough shit out there, someone's going to do something, and someone's going to do what we want them to do. We don't have to tell them to do it. We just have to throw enough shit out there to give these people who already want to do it enough reason to actually commit.
With enough subliminal messaging and suggestive overtones and undertones. I get exactly what you're saying.
That's exactly what's going on.
That's like psychological warfare.
Dude, it's a fucking psyop, bro.
Yeah.
It's a psyop. And the liberals are falling for it. They're falling for a freaking psyop program.
Hook, line, and goddamn sinker. Nah, man, that you just put me on to something. I guess to a degree I was familiar with the concept, but I didn't know it had an exact definition.
Well, the leaders behind BLM and Antifa are also stochastic terrorists. If you think about it, they threw enough shit in a direction and turned everything into everything about race. And then all of a sudden there's fires and rioting. And the whole idea was, and I guarantee you that's why they did it, if we know enough, throw enough shit in a direction, people are going to give us money. And then what's going to happen is these people are going to burn down cities or commit violent acts against the police and people.
I mean, God damn.
They're playing 4D chess, bro.
I mean,
they're playing 4D chess with the Liberal Party. They really are.
I ain't gonna lie, Don's over here giving us a goddamn lesson. Stochastic terrorism. Everybody go ahead and look that shit up, man. Tell me where you notice some parallels in some of the events that we've had happen. in, you know, recent history or even beyond that. But nah, man,
Well,
I do appreciate you sharing that, Dons. We're gonna continue on. I got a few more videos I want to share, a couple short ones before I close the stream out. I appreciate you sticking
I
around,
want to
bro. That
mention
was
one thing.
yes, sir. Go
Stochastic
ahead.
terrorism actually goes all the way back to the founding of the KKK.
Okay.
They used methods to do that. Anyway, see ya.
All right. Now I appreciate that, Dons. Like I said, actually literally, bro, I'm adding it to my list of research topics. That's actually,
Yeah,
like I said,
it's
I think I was
wild.
familiar with the concept, like the general sense, but I didn't know how an exact definition. So you put me
It's
on
a
the spot
long
right now.
ass rabbit hole. Tell me what you find, because I've been
For
looking into
sure.
it for a couple months now.
For sure. Shout out Dons one more time, man. We definitely appreciate that, dog. All right, man. We're gonna continue on with the stream. Got a couple more videos, like I said, I wanted to share before we close this one out. Expect the second part of the stream tonight with S.E.T, most likely, guys. Let's cover this one real quick. This was a funny video. Shout out Valuetainment. They did a little spoof of a Kamala interview. Let's get into it.
States 2 months after the wildfires where people lost everything. Do you see why people think this is bullshit?
It's not only seeing it, Alex, you can smell it.
Oh my God, you're right. What is that? It's bullshit.
But to literally be on the ground here, you can smell the
bullshit.
That's what we were talking about.
Exactly that.
You can feel the toxicity, frankly, of the environment.
No, it's not the environment. The toxicity is from you being here. Anyway, since you're being really honest, which is totally out of character for you, what are your thoughts on the future of California? And I'm going to warn you, don't do your signature Kamala Harris word salad or else we're both going to leave.
As we think about the future, we must, as a society, as a country, invest in adaptation and resilience. And we have to understand these extreme weather occurrences are extreme, but they are increasingly less rare.
We tried to warn you!
And goddamn, you know what that told me about Kamala was, man, that was painful to watch because it just confirmed everything we already knew about the young lady. She has no substance. There's nothing there, man. A bowl of nothing soup, word salad, nothing burgers, as they call it. She said a whole lot of nothing. Said a whole lot of words to have a very little meaning. Like, that's what killed me about Kamala. Never really said anything substantial or with any substance, or just kind of left you wondering what she truly meant. Like, she feels what you think a politician would and should be as far as accolades, accomplishments, what she's done, the position she's held. But when you hear her speak, man, you're underwhelmed. It's just like, I'm not impressed in the slightest. I'm underwhelmed. I'm left wanting more. I'm confused because I'm wondering if there's something I missed in translation. And then I realized after hearing multiple speaking engagements, she's just not saying shit. But luckily we didn't get stuck with her for 4 years. Am I right? Now let's get into the next video, man, because we'll call it something of a conspiracy hour. Let's get into this Tim Pool video, man. Apparently they were redacting names and information from some of these flight logs with Epstein. So let's get into that. Let's see what's going on. Like the video, guys. Double tap that screen for your boy, and let's see what's going on with some of this stuff, because y'all know we like a good conspiracy over here at S.E.T Media, man. Y'all know we live for it. Let's do it. Gonna close out the stream with this video. Like the video on the way out, man. Feel free to super chat in as well. Let me know how you guys feel. $2 or more, you can go ahead and let your voice be heard. Thoughts, questions, comments, anything you guys want to get off your chest. Disagreements as well can be shared. Give you a shout out for supporting like my man Vladstein. And we'll keep it going, guys.
Major story that started breaking just a moment ago. FBI files on Epstein allegedly being destroyed. Now, we have no hard confirmation, but there are individuals saying it's been confirmed by a whistleblower to Michael Schellenberger that individuals in the government, knowing the release is imminent, have begun deleting files related to JFK and Epstein to prevent this information from getting to the public. Now, you have a mass outcry of individuals calling on Pam Bondi to release the Epstein files now before it is too late. They say there is no reason to wait any longer. It was, I believe it was a couple days ago. Pam Bondi said she had the Epstein client list on her desk. So the question is, what is taking so long? You got to recognize, my friends, this is giving an opportunity.
Facts. I mean, you got the list right there on your desk. I would have just released it right then and there. I mean, we've been waiting how long for this shit? What's the point of holding on to it unless you're redacting names and information, unless you're altering names and information, editing this shit, doctoring it up to be publicly consumable versus just giving us the raw version. I don't know about y'all, but I want it raw. Don't give me the baby version. Tell me what actually happened.
To nefarious actors who are going to be able to go in and say, she's got the list. Let's start getting rid of any information that could implicate their criminal buddies. Now, I'll tell you this. Before we jump into what's going on with the destruction of this, we got a couple tweets. There are legitimate reasons why information is classified. I think the Epstein list should be released. The question is, and I think y'all would agree with me, let's say some people on the Epstein client list are actively engaged in criminal activities with unknown third parties of prominence. So you got a list. Let's say, John and Jane Doe, Epstein Island, confirmed, here's what they did, criminals, trafficking, etc. Then, in those files, it says something like John Doe then met with 3 individuals, a part of this organization, as they were leaving on a private plane. Those individuals, we believe, were engaged in trafficking and facilitating trafficking, but we have not yet completed that investigation. The question is, do you trust the FBI? Me, I don't. With Cash and Dan joining, maybe I will start to. But you got to understand, these deep state shills, these corrupt individuals are still going to be there lurking in the shadows until Cash and Dan can get a grip on what's going on. In the meantime, there is deep concerns. When they announced Dan Bongino's coming in, you better believe these criminals are trying to cover their tracks. The question then becomes, why was Epstein covered up for so long? And why is it taking so long for us to get any kind of information on what really happened? Stands to reason. Government elements were involved in some capacity. Maybe it was a sweetheart deal. That's the easy explanation, right? The FBI said, Epstein, you give us this, we'll give you that. And then let them get away with it. Maybe there are people who are in on the take. I'm not saying I know for sure, but you better believe that as high as Epstein goes, powerful people being implicated can get their hands on a lot. So here's the story right now trending on X. FBI files on Epstein allegedly being destroyed. Allegations have surfaced that the FBI is deleting records related to Jeffrey Epstein, as claimed by an anonymous whistleblower. Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna, leading a declassification task force, has publicly demanded transparency on these files, along with other government secrets. These claims are prompting further scrutiny and demands for openness from political figures like Senator Marshall Blackburn amid ongoing public interest in the Epstein case. So I've got some other tweets here. Douglas McGregor says, breaking, FBI personnel busted, destroying server evidence developing. This was last night. The general on X, again, not super familiar, a whistleblower has exposed that the FBI has begun permanently erasing files that may be connected to Jeffrey Epstein. And then from Dominic Michael Trippi, a political analyst and writer, he says, FBI whistleblowers confirms to journalist Michael Schellenberger that FBI employees were destroying evidence related to Jeffrey Epstein files and the JFK assassination. Okay. Elon Musk chiming in with exclamation point. Let me see if I can get Michael Schellenberger on X. Now, this guy's been of good credibility and notability. He says, here we go. We got this tweet here. This is big news. FBI whistleblower Go Back will confirm to me that a source inside the FBI said FBI employees were destroying evidence on servers and that he has informed Kash Patel. I hope he and AG Pam Bondi, John Ratcliffe, Elon Musk, real Anna Paulina Luna are preventing this. We urgently need disclosure. Take a look at this. This is going crazy. Anna Paulina Lou says, there is a massive war happening in the intelligence agencies right now. The corruption being exposed is actual treason. It's getting hot. Charlie Kirk pointing out, and I've got this story pulled up. CNN says top leadership at the CIA are worried anti-Trump personnel may be motivated to sell out America to a foreign power. In other words, the people who created the Russia hoax might now sell America's secrets to Russia, and then CNN will be there to blame Trump. This is getting crazy. So first, delay to Jeffrey Epstein files being released raises questions. This story from the morning Newsweek reporting that Epstein, which we know a lot about, people are concerned that Pam Bondi said she's got the list on her desk, but she's not releasing it. Why? Get it out now. I'm going to say this. I like Pam Bondi. I trust with Kash Patel and Dan, we're moving in the right direction. We don't want to compromise active investigations into Epstein's friends. And if they release information too soon, it's going to signal. Let's say there's a guy named John Doe. He doesn't know the government's tracking him. He did some dealings with Epstein through a third party. And if they release his name on the list of suspected clients, that dude lawyers up, jumps ship. You don't want to let these people know what's going on. The problem then is, will the American people tolerate this? Perhaps they're going to say, no, release it now and let the court of public opinion handle it. That may be.
I feel like that's what should be done. I mean, we've been waiting on these documents for how long? Since the shit happened, people have been calling for the release of these documents so we can really kind of piece together the story for ourselves, because they're only going to tell us a small piece, give us a small glimpse or window into what really happened. It's going to take the real deep search divers, the real researchers, the real ones to go in there, look at the evidence, look at the documents, and piece it together for us and put it out and really tell us what happened. So for them to be having the documents on their desk, as he just said, and they haven't released them to us, it does start to give the situation a fishy smell. I don't care what the excuse or justification might be. We've been waiting on these documents for God knows how long. Release the shit to us. Unredacted. Unedited. Like I said, give it to us raw.
The direction people want to go in dealing with this. So Pam Bondi says she's got the list. She's seen it. She knows who's there. Let's roll. What are we waiting for? Now check this one out from the Federalist. Deep state bureaucrats threaten to sell state secrets if Trump isn't nice to them.
Huh?
CNN reported this. Federalist picking up the story. They say, brace yourself as the propaganda press tries to stop Trump. Expect news stories screaming about ordinary budget and staff cuts that would happen in any bloated private business, but under Trump will be described as unfair. Take, for example, the February 24th number from CNN, how Trump's government cutting moves risk exposing the CIA secrets. The short report required 4 CNN writers. Wow. Exposing CIA secrets sounds pretty dangerous. In the piece, CNN warned, as the CIA weighs staff cuts, current and former intelligence officials say that mass firings could offer a rich recruitment opportunity for foreign intelligence services like China and Russia, who may seek to exploit financially vulnerable or resentful former employees. Going on to say, on the CIA 7th floor, home to top leadership, some officers are also quietly discussing how mass firings and the buyouts already offered to staff risk creating a group of disgruntled former employees who might be motivated to take what they know to a foreign intelligence service. Is that a threat from the CIA? Is CNN reporting that Trump should keep everyone employed because if he doesn't, former CIA agents will spill U.S. secrets to our enemies? Apparently, that's what they're saying. If that's the case, these are exactly the employees who should be fired. Within the same piece, CNN ridiculously makes it sound as if valued model intelligence employees will get the axe, and that those same employees have loose lips and are ripe for the picking. Which is it? So right now, CNN's running this narrative. Intelligence officers are going to be, who are facing firings or layoffs, are going to sell state secrets. You better dang well believe these same people are going to be destroying evidence to get them off the hook. Worse still is the middle ground. How many of these individuals will destroy evidence just to spite Donald Trump and all of us who voted for a real change? Let me tell you a quick story, my friends. I knew a guy back in Chicago, and he didn't pay his rent. He was kind of broke. It's a tough situation. I get it. His job wasn't
That's like cutting your nose off to spite your face kind of thing. Like, yeah, I know like we kind of lose in the grand scheme of things, but as long as Trump doesn't get a dub, it's worth it. Like, damn, like deep state bureaucrats, why you gotta be on that? Like, come on, man. Let the public know, man. We want to know what was going on those islands, who went there, how many times they went there. Come on now. We want to know who was on those Diddy lists. And we want to know who and what happened with RF goddamn K. Beyond that, we really want to know what happened with JFK. Well, I'm sorry. We want to know what happened with JFK, MLK, Malcolm X, and a lot of other sketchy things that have, our government is may or may not have been may or may not have been they may or may not have done or had anything to do with over the decades. We all want to know. We all want to know.
Paying him enough. And so they evicted him. What did he do? Well, I can
All of
understand
it.
if you're an honorable
Tupac,
guy and you can't pay your
Biggie.
rent, you're upset, you get evicted, you leave. No. He bought
Michael
Hershey's
Jackson.
chocolate syrup and he squeezed it in every crack he could find in the building. Now, why would you do that? It's like, bro, you couldn't pay your rent. We're not mad at you because you couldn't. We're just telling you can't stay here if you can't because someone's got to maintain the building. So he said he was going to ruin that apartment by putting chocolate syrup in all of the cracks and crevices, like between, and cracks in the walls, so it's impossible to clean without a major renovation or remodeling. He wanted to make sure nobody could ever have it. He went scorched earth, but he was the one at fault. I'm sure the communists are saying, no, it's not. You should be allowed to live there. But you better dang well believe there are going to be people in these agencies who are going to say, oh, you want to come at me and insult me? You want to impugn my honor? And they're going to start deleting things. Oopsie daisy, oopsie daisy. They're going to sink the ship to make sure that Kash Patel, Pam Bondi, and Dan Bongino won't be able to use it. They're going to scuttle the ship to make sure that when the new captain boards it, it's useless. I'm deeply concerned. We want this Epstein list out now. And with a trend that there's fears, Michael Schellenberg reporting, they're destroying some of this evidence. What are we waiting for? Lock these people out immediately. But wait. When Elon Musk comes in and says, what are you doing? Step outside, locks the door. They claim he's a fascist taking over. The Democrat and liberal media are creating an opportunity for criminals, because criminals exist, to cover up their tracks. It makes you wonder who's involved in this stuff, man. We'll see how it goes. Smash the like button, share the show with everyone you know. We got more segments coming up. We'll keep you updated on the client list. This is crazy. We'll see you on the next segment.
Wow. That is insane. Like, yeah. I mean, if they're really redacting some of this information, it just shows, I'm not going to lie, and I hate to sound like a pessimist, but it really just shows we can never really trust government officials, because this should have been a closed shut case when it reached I think, what was it, Pam Bondi's desk? Should have been a closed cut case. There should have been no revision. There should have been no redaction in names, events, times, places, any information. It should have been a quick little turnover to the American people, and we should already have the information at our disposal and to be able to access the shit. We should be doing a full breakdown and expose of this JFK files by now. And the fact that we're not, it does kind of smell a little bit fishy. I am kind of wondering what the hell is going on in the background, because like I said, give this shit to us raw. We've been waiting long enough. There should be no wait time. There should have been no turnaround. I mean, there should have been no waiting period. It should have been the quickest turnaround. And like I said, beyond Epstein, so many other things in our nation's history, so many other files that we're waiting for the release of, that I'm actually beyond JFK. Come on, guys. We got Epstein, JFK, MLK, right? Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, a lot of events in our nation's history where we're waiting on some of these files to either confirm or deny some of the conspiracies that are floating around about said events. But on topic of Epstein, we want to know who was on them goddamn islands. It doesn't matter if it's your favorite celebrity or politician, man. I'm not sitting here, and I'm definitely not above holding whoever was on them goddamn islands accountable. Now, I know there's a lot of speculation about who was on them islands. I say wait until the list comes out, and then we could judge whoever was there to the full scope of what we need to be judging them to. Hey, we can put them under the goddamn prison. But let's wait until the names come out. Hopefully they don't redact anybody's names or anything like that so we can really know what the fuck was going on. But we'll see. At this point, we ain't got the files. Who knows what they're doing? But y'all know what this means, man. We all hear this music.
Sleeper birth. Then this has to be, there's measurements and has to have all this stuff. You can sleep in here as long as you just put it out. Oh, dude. Because if you're using sleep birth, then it gives you those extra hours to work with. You can take 2 hours here.